there's some things going on today. Oh my gosh. The government might shut down, Adam. I don't know if you know this. The government might be shut down forever.
I heard that. Yeah.
Yes. Elon Musk might be the actual president. Oh no. Disney dropped some kind of transgender storyline from a TV show they're producing. That's kind of fascinating. And also, Cenk Uygur totally took out a flamethrower and burned Dave Rubin to a crisp on Piers Morgan. And oh my God, it was something. It was something. I don't know. I guess you have a lot to say about that, don't you?
Yeah. We'll get into it, obviously. So I
Right.
guess let's watch the torching first.
Yeah. Okay. So we'll jump into it first. Well, first we're gonna have Pierce does he does the setup here with Dave Rubin, which is kind of interesting. He's talking about people that have switched sides, quote, politically.
Their positions, but I'll begin with the OG of the political trans movement, Dave Rubin, creator and host of the Rubin Report. He wants to respond to my recent interview with his former colleague, Anna Kasparian. Well, Dave, great to have you on Uncensored. So look, we had Anna on. Very interesting pivot that she's been making in the last few months. But obviously you and her have a bit of history. And in the interest of fair-minded balance, this is your chance to say what you want to say by way of response to her.
Is it a pivot? Is that a good way to describe it? A pivot?
No, that's a terrible way to describe it. Yeah.
Yeah. It makes it seem like, I mean, I would describe it as she's come to the conclusion that maybe everyone on the right isn't just some greedy, evil racist.
Mhm.
Like there's people on the right that actually are reasonable people that you can debate and come to policy goal, work together towards policy goals with. Like
Yeah.
that's describing that as a pivot to the right. I think is completely inaccurate. I would describe it more as a lot of people are coming to the realization that the far, far left or right crazies in their party are probably less valuable as coalition partners than the moderate right or left on the other side of the aisle.
Mhm.
So
Yeah. And also the importance of that you can be a moral person regardless of whether you're on the left or the right politically.
yes,
Too
yeah.
often people get stuck in the framework where only people on my team are the moral people, all the immoral people on another team. And I think, I didn't really get it until watching it just now, but I think Pierce setting this all up with Dave Rubin is actually like a huge, I don't know if the word's mistake or it's like a huge blunder or a huge obstacle for Anna. And I think this is part of why Cenk gets so like triggered because the whole thing here is that, people have been comparing Anna and Cenk to a lesser extent to Dave Rubin, which I don't think is a fair comparison even remotely. And they don't think it's a fair comparison remotely. And then here's Pierce doing that exact thing very, very, very directly.
Yeah, look, I agree with Anna Kasparian. I've said it many times on the show. I've always been, I guess, look, I'm trying to be magnanimous here myself in light of the commentary I have later when Cenk comes in. But the Dave Rubin, I think, is not one of those people that has really strong political opinions. So it's very easy for him to move from the moderate left to the moderate right, which I would describe as a pivot. And I completely agree with you that it's kind of bad framing here because it is saying, look, Anna Kasparian is pulling a Dave Rubin here. When I think Anna Kasparian, I think is firmly on the left. Like there are plenty of positions I disagree with her on the left, probably mostly around economic stuff and, you know, incentives and how to run an economy, basically, those kinds of things. But I do think Dave Rubin is a better example of a pivot. I think Anna Kasparian will firmly stay on the left and just be looking for moderate collaboration partners on the right that she can work towards getting policy goals achieved. And she's basically had this conversation with Cenk, and Cenk is like, well, we've been failing at getting policy goals accomplished for a decade now. Maybe we try something new, right? So he's open to that idea.
Sure. Funny, I enjoyed your intro there. I guess I did sort of get on the trans thing early. It just wasn't about my genitals. Look, Piers, you're absolutely right. What Donald Trump represents, and then I will address the Anna situation, but what Donald Trump represents right now is something that is well beyond conservative versus liberal or left versus right or anything else. It's a restoration of the American dream. It is a wide tent party that has now brought in classical liberals, not only like myself, but Tulsi Gabbard and RFK, who will be in the administration itself, or someone.
See, look, he's saying, look, I'm still a liberal. He's like, but hasn't there been videos of him saying he's on the right? I mean, he's he's Christian now.
Yeah. Well, he's not saying he's a classical liberal. He's just saying, well, first of all,
he said RFK, classical liberals like myself. That's exactly what he said.
Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, I miss it. Like, because first of all, Tulsi and RFK are not classical liberal. Classical liberal means you're libertarian. Okay?
Right.
That's a very weird framing, but.
Well, this is Ben Shapiro has this as well, where he's like, I'm super libertarian until he's not, right?
Right.
Until it's like,
of course.
Yeah.
Like Elon Musk, who was basically a default lefty his entire life. And it has brought them in conversation and in government and in culture with Republicans who tend to be more for the old institutions and more for, let's say, pro-capitalism, things of that nature. This has created a pro-America movement that I think almost everyone in America can get on board. Now, as it pertains to Anna, yes, I was part of the Young Turks Network about a decade ago. We were very, very good friends. She was invited to my wedding. We hung out all the time. I did see her on your show about 2 weeks ago.
Well, for those who did, let me stop you there, because for those who didn't, I want to play two clips. One, this is for those who may be coming cold to.
Talk about setting this up for failure, right?
Yeah, I know. This is so bad. He's like,
let me stop you there. Before you say anything good about Anna Kasparian.
Right. Piers Barker's like, let me play a collage of Anna Kasparian, bad mouthing you, right? From like years ago. Terrible. Though I will say, listen, I gotta say, Dave Rubin, sharp dresser. I like that outfit. That's a good outfit.
Oh yeah. If Dave Rubin spent as much time on his comedy routine as he did on his wardrobe, oh my God.
That's
my God.
How dare
you?
One is a sort of mashup of some of the things she said about you before. Then I'm going to play a clip of what she said on this show 2 weeks ago. So let's watch the two things.
He was lazy when he worked here. He's lazy now with his ridiculous show where he proves time and time again that he doesn't know anything.
Anna, what's wrong with being lazy? Come on, I feel like I'm catching strays here.
Has no political identity. He is not an honest actor. He is not an intellectual. He is a fraud. But if you are someone who considers yourself libertarian, consider the fact that Dave Rubin is a public figure who represents you, and he doesn't actually genuinely believe in your ideology. And he's going around the country embarrassing you. You need to at least know your shit and know how to back up your argument. Even if it's like a BS argument, you need to have an argument. Yeah. And he doesn't even do the legwork to be a grifter, right? Look, I don't know. Maybe I was wrong about Dave Rubin, but I just felt that he, first of all, after he left TYT, he did lie about us, and that bothered me because we were still friends, and I didn't understand what was going on. He did leave on good terms, so it was weird. And, he kept saying that he was this classical liberal, but had trouble defining what that meant and had trouble reinforcing or at least backing up some of the claims that he was making about, his newfound identity.
So, Dave, there we have.
So, Dave, how do you feel about this collage, this compilation of Anna calling you an asshole? Does that rub you the right way? Do you feel good about this?
Look, we originally covered Anna Kasparian when she was on Piers Morgan, and I did think that it was smart and kind of magnanimous to throw Dave Rubin a bone to say, maybe I was wrong about Dave Rubin.
Right.
And it's bizarre to me because now you have Cenk here, and obviously Piers is pulling Rubin in to kind of see if maybe he can get that same kind of concession from Cenk that he got from Anna, right?
Well, it's okay. So like, to do a little bit of spoiling here,
Mhm.
because Pierce says like, oh, like obviously things between Cenk and Dave Rubin did not go well in the segment, but Pierce is kind of like, oh, I thought this was going to be like a good segment of conciliation, but I mean, that can't be true, right? No one sets up this compilation and thinks it's going to go well after that, right? Like this is intentionally setting things up to be hostile.
Yeah, oh man. It's it's not a good way to get reconciliation going with those clips, definitely.
Mhm.
I mean it could work. It's best to get the worst shit out there on the table, right?
Is it?
If he can well, I mean he is setting up. Look at these terrible things that you said about Dave or Anna said about Dave Rubin for Cenk, right? You said terrible things about him. Like,
Yeah, but they know
shouldn't you
that.
feel bad
Everyone
about
involved
that?
knows that, right? Do you have to like rub it in their face? And then
That they
also
said these horrible things?
yeah, then also I think it not only is you rub it in their face and it puts people in like an emotional state, or they have to like hear this all again, but then also it makes it harder to be more conciliatory publicly because it's like, oh, do I look weak? This person's been like shitting all over me, and if I'm like turning the other cheek, does that make me look weak?
I mean, we have to. This is the thing, because let's listen to Dave Rubin's response, and I think Dave Rubin, in spite of being hit with all of those clips, kind of handles it well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I agree.
So
with you,
I
yeah.
mean, if he can sit through those clips and say, I would still like to mend fences if that's a possibility,
good for
and
him.
then Cenk comes out.
I know.
Look,
Not good.
That was this is why this is so fascinating, because I'm very surprised that Cenk does what he does.
I'm not. I'm not at all.
Really?
Yeah.
Look, it's so, oh God. Like, if you want to work with the moderate right, to make policy achievements, this is not the way to do it.
No, of course not. But Cenk also has to protect, or he probably feels like, doing some mind reading here, he feels like he has to protect his brand from the left, because the whole narrative right now is the left is attacking TOIT and saying that they're all becoming right-wing grifters like Dave Rubin.
Yeah, I know. That's a huge part of the equation. Here, we'll talk more about it when we get to it.
Have it in all its inglorious fashion, all the digs she had at you, then what she said online, which she herself, of course, was pivoting. What's your response?
Well, first off, I should note you don't have 10 years of videos of me saying anything about her, because we did leave on good terms. As a matter of fact, when I told her I was leaving, we went to Zinc on Melrose. I took her out for sangria, and she cried because I was leaving, and I was bringing my producer with me. But putting that aside for a moment,
Must have been a good producer.
I can't explain any of my ideas, well, somehow this became a New York Times bestseller, where I lay out all my classically liberal beliefs, and I've discussed them with you many times, and I believe in laissez-faire economics, and I believe in individual rights and all that. But what I would say, I think she's a little confused and perhaps was lied to by her employers about some of my behaviors or something like that. But I love the idea of anyone going through their own political evolution. One of the things is that people go through it often in varying speeds. So I always say some people swallow the red pill and some people snort it, right? Some people just wake up overnight and they fully see it. I think one of the things that you
see this, I can't stand this framing at all. Like, defining switching parties as the red pill just implies one party is incorrect and one party is correct. Yes. Which I think of things more like a yin and a yang, right? You need a good defense and a good offense. And the liberals tend to be the offense for society, and conservatives tend to be the defense for society. And wherever your intuitions take you, if you think, tradition is what we should look to solve our problems, or you think we should look for new ideas to solve our problems, both of those can be effective strategies in different contexts. So good for you. I think we should be looking at things that way and not have this Manichaean attitude that it's got to be war between the left and right.
Right.
you have to do when you wake up is realize that many people have gone through this before you and that you might have wronged some people on the way there. So I was very glad to hear her say that she might have been wrong about Dave Rubin. Look, all it takes, honestly, like I know you know this, Piers, you've been in this game longer than me. You don't get any apologies in this business, and I don't like making things really about myself in that sense. But genuinely, if there was a mea culpa there or just a simple apology, maybe I didn't see things right about you, Dave, or whatever, I would gladly welcome anyone. And I don't mean to make this about her. If you're waking up to the ideas of liberty and limited government, especially post-COVID and seeing what this ridiculous Democratic Party has become, and you want to agree to disagree and dive into the ideas and have that battle, I will do that with absolutely anybody. So look, an apology probably, I would say, would be warranted, but I don't sit there and wait for it. And I think there are much.
I so cringe. I'm cringing out of my chair here. It's like, stop begging for an apology. Like, people can be wrong. You don't need a fucking apology, okay?
Right.
I'm losing all respect for Dave Rubin here.
Really?
I think an apology would be well, look, I have.
Yeah. As soon as you bring up the apology, you're like,
it's stupid. It's stupid. Like, just say, look, she was wrong. And not only that, I don't like the framing of, oh, if you're waking up to the fact that I'm right. No, she still thinks you're fucking wrong. She thinks there is a place for government. She doesn't think we need to disband the government and live in some libertarian utopian. She still disagrees with you. She just thinks maybe she was wrong about you having deeply held beliefs about these things. So, look, I'm skeptical that he believes this shit. I think he's been hanging out with other people that just are like, well, I mean, I probably agree with him on a lot of the stuff as far as like incentives and stuff like that. But I do think there's a role for government. So
much bigger forces at play here than just the interpersonal battle of two people.
Out of interest, I mean, if I could make it happen, would you debate her?
Yes.
Uncensored?
Yeah, 100. I said that on my show after we played that clip. If she, I'd be happy to do it with her live, just the two of us in.
He's gonna do it with her live on TV. What?
Studio. If you want to be the host or moderator, I'll do it under any condition, because again, I think there's something, I think it now represents something that could be unbelievably good for America.
Yeah.
Progressives who have called everybody racists and bigots and impugn motives. I mean, people just watch that compilation right there. Always going after people in the worst nature. If you've now woke up, and from what I understand, I've seen some of her tweets, she's now being attacked the same way she attacked me. So I would say, much like Bruce Willis said in Die Hard, welcome to the party, pal. But we can be on the same side, even if we still have political disagreements. Okay, we don't agree on the marginal tax rate or the immigration rates or something like that. If you love America, if you think this place is fundamentally good, if we still have a country that will offer more opportunity for any other place, and you want to be part of that, yes, whatever the circumstances are, or the moderator is or isn't, I'd be happy to do it. But if it's you, that would be great.
Okay, so my question for you, Sitch, is this a good idea for Anna to debate Dave Rubin?
Probably not, because like, what do you gain from that? Because you're going to have you have the two competing audiences. One feeling where it's like, okay, I have to be hard on Dave Rubin to make sure to solidify to my left base that I'm not going the Dave Rubin route, right? But then at the same token, if you're trying to appeal to like maybe more people on the right or maybe more moderate or whatever, that would turn them off. So is it kind of like a no-win situation? Like who wins in that? Like how does Anna win in that exchange? Like what benefit does she derive from that?
Well, I think obviously it would be a huge kind of viral thing, right?
Well, that's true. It would get a lot of eyeballs.
Yeah, I would not do it on Piers Morgan. I would do it on the Uncursed channel, obviously. Yes, right. There's no reason to drive all this attention to Piers Morgan, right? You're basically just,
I guess
blowing him up.
She could, like, theoretically, you could do something where you talk to him and it's like cordial and you are very clearly expressing, the differences of your opinions and how you think that you're different, and to kind of draw this line between, it'd be difficult to do in like a very, chill way, but to draw the distinction between like, kind of what you were saying, Dave Rubin is here talking about how like, oh, you took the red pill, you understand all this stuff, as opposed to saying like, I didn't, change sides or anything like that, like the way that you sort of did.
Yeah, look, I think it would be good to have that conversation, to have it out. I do agree with you wholeheartedly that if it's like a love fest, that then that's going to be perceived as Anna doing the pivot and warming up to the right and getting ready for her Daily Wire contract.
Yeah, right.
So, but I do think there are enough ideological differences that I think some sort of engagement, like you would have to structure it on what you were actually talking about. But
Right.
like if it was a debate over the necessity of government or something like that, I think she could destroy him and like bring him to heel.
Yeah,
easily.
Maybe.
Because his audience wants him to, get rid of the Department of Education, right?
Right.
Just fucking whip his ass on that. And on the left, I mean, everyone would say, okay, well, Anna's still on the left. Like she's out there fighting for the Department of Education.
Yeah, but here's the
right?
problem is it's like, I don't know. I guess it's hard to tell because I feel like regardless of any interaction, unless it's even if it was theoretically, even if it was just Anna just fucking annihilating Dave Rubin, right? Publicly humiliating him. I mean, all these fucking assholes are still they're gonna still say all the same shit. They're still gonna attack her. Like, it's not gonna change any of their minds.
Yeah, that's a good point. And look, she did. I mean, I thought she got Glenn Beck to heel on a number of points where she, like Dave or Glenn Beck was going for some sort of, oh, we totally agree on this. And Anna was like, no, I kind of disagree with you there.
Mm-hmm.
Even to the point where she was making Glenn Beck, I feel uncomfortable at certain moments. So
right, because he didn't want to be very conflicty.
Yeah. He's trying to warm her up. He's like, look, she might be working here at the Blaze soon. We would love to have her.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh, they love the converts. They totally love the converts. So.
I mean, you're completely correct, and that's how I perceive that conversation too. But obviously, all the bad actors on the socialist internet were like, or even the non-socialist left-wing internet were like, oh, she talking to Glenn Beck was the problem.
I know.
Right?
Oh, that one guy, is it Mondell or whatever, the guy who left TYT? I watched part of his stream with the Vanguard boys, and oh my God, he makes it sound like his life was threatened just because she talked to Glenn Beck.
Yeah, but this is what this is the problem. Most people don't listen to what you're saying. They kind of listen to a tone and like a vibe of what you're saying, and so that's why listen, I don't know, maybe Anna could completely annihilate Dave Rubin. I'm not like the big brain here to tell people what to do in terms of their career. I don't know. I don't have any of the answers. Okay. Mm-hmm. But like, I would feel like that if you have this conversation, even if she's like completely, dismantles Dave Rubin, but doesn't do it in like Cenk screaming at Dave Rubin the way you're about to watch on Piers Morgan, all these people on the left they won't perceive it. They'll just completely be like, oh, you had a nice conversation with Dave Rubin. She's depleting the grift to the Dave Rubin arc. Oh my God, look, here's the part of the conversation. Let me play a clip where like they had like, they said nice things about each other. They were being nice to each other.
Yeah, that's the narrative that they're pushing. So I just, any piece of evidence, she can talk to anyone, and there can be 35 pieces of evidence that she's still on the left, and there's like a half a piece of evidence that she's making the move, and it enforces the narrative. So they hit on it. Right. I don't know how to deal with that. And this, I mean, obviously, at some point you just got to say fuck it, right? You just got to say, okay, well, that fake narrative. And look, this is a fascinating conversation in how do you deal with these fake narratives that get out there that are just intended to savage your reputation by enemies. So yeah, that's a tough one. All right, let's hear this response.
What's really interesting about what you just said, I totally agree with you, by the way. But if you look at Trump's picks for his cabinet, for example, they are so diverse in terms of their views. right across the board. I mean, if they all got together, they'd be arguing about all sorts of stuff, which I'm all in favor of. This kind of, rigid ideology where you have to all sign up to one viewpoint about everything. Yeah, there'll be people in there that completely disagree with RFK, for example, about some of his views. Good. Have that debate.
Of course.
Have that debate. This is what democracy is supposed to be built on.
Of course, this is the beauty of what Trump is doing right now. And really, you can connect that so deeply. I mean, I would recommend anyone go back on YouTube. You can find Donald Trump on Phil Donahue or Oprah or a whole bunch of these shows back in the 80s. And he sounds like a Democrat.
Yeah.
So Donald Trump is not a traditional conservative. I would actually argue that Donald Trump's own political evolution probably, Piers, is much more in line with guys like you and me than say George Bush or Dick Cheney or someone that might, you think of as a sort of standard bearer for Republicanism. So the fact that he is now going to bring in people who quite literally were running against him for president only 6 months ago, RFK Jr., and someone who ran against him for president on the other side, Tulsi, only 4 years ago, that shows you what's bringing them together. What's bringing them together is a love for America, a realization that we have been on the precipice of giving away the most precious, beautiful experiment in human history on how to free people ever. And I think Donald Trump actually now sees that. I also think that post-assassination attempt, I think he has a renewed fervor and sort of realization of what his role in life is. And that's the opportunity that, again, not to make this about Anna specifically, but anyone that's going through a wake-up. We know so many people have woken up. I mean, look, for me, I think it was 2016. I did that Why I Left the Left video for PragerU. You want everyone to get there the day you do, but you have to be gracious when people come around one way or another.
Yeah. Well, let's bring in my other panel members, because some of them are definitely going on a very interesting journey, including new MAGA enthusiast, Cenk Uygur. I said that deliberately to wind him up. The host and founder of the Young Turks.
My God.
Look at the head shake. Oh, no.
He's so pissed right now. Cenk is like on fire right now. He's like, oh my God, I had to listen to that bullshit.
Well, it's interesting because I only saw this clip once before. And so like watching it a second time now that I know where it's going, I can see all the landmines that they're being tripped here. That's kind of actually setting up the situation.
Right. You're watching it from Cenk's perspective. You're totally watching it from Cenk's
right. Because it's like, you have Dave Rubin say, well, everyone leaves the left at their own speed. Everyone, realizes the truth about the left at their own speed. And then Pierce says like, oh, MAGA enthusiast, Cenk. Like he's really, I mean, it's a joke, but I could see why things are kind of heading towards disaster.
A lot of times people try to turn it on its head. The why I left the left thing. They say that why the left left me, right? Like they're like, I'm still in the same place. The left left me. Mm-hmm. I think the evolution of that framing is why the left threw me out. Because
yes.
It really seems if you made the argument that they just threw you out on nonsense, then you'd be like, they are ultimately unreasonable.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Libertarian Dave Smith, host of Part of the Problem. Lindy Lee, the DNC Finance Committee member and advisor, and former woke activist turned YouTuber, Amala Ekpunobi. Well, welcome to all of you. So, Cenk, I mean, many people saying if you carry on down the road you're going in the last few weeks, you will be a fully fledged member of MAGA before we know it.
Yeah, there's absolutely no chance of that. I'm not like Dave Rubin, a giant sellout fraud who changed all of his positions and is totally useless and it shouldn't even be on here. He's just a waste of space.
Wow. Really? After what all Dave said about coming together?
Yeah. Yeah, no, got no interest in coming together with utter frauds like Dave Rubin. So, brother, you telling me that when you were on the Young Turks, you were Mr. Progressive and you agreed with us 100%. Now, all of a sudden, you agree with Trump 100%. You're not saying something nuanced like we are. Hey, when the guy gets shot at and he puts his fist up, that's courageous. When he does the McDonald's photo op and it works fine, no problem, right? If he wants to cut the Pentagon, great. Those are progressive positions. Anti-corruption, progressive position. Anti-war, progressive position. But you change all of your ideology overnight and you expect us to believe that that's real? I don't think it's real at all. And I want an apology from you for all the crazy, outrageous lies that you told about the Young Turks. When is that going to happen, huh? And when are you
Wow.
going to admit that you changed all your positions for money? Okay. Well, what position do you still have that's in
Jake,
any
you
way
need
a
an
so-called
awfully-
classic liberal, you fraud?
Dave?
Oh my God. You're muted, Sitch. I don't know if you know this, but
I'm not muted.
okay. Well, you paused it.
Yeah, I was just laughing. Oh my God, this is so bad.
Yeah,
It's so
he
bad.
calls him a fraud. He calls him dishonest. All this
Yeah.
stuff. This is not the. I've come to the realization that people can disagree. Look at Lindy's
Right,
face.
right.
Lindy's like, "Oh my God, what am I witnessing here?"
No, no, no. I mean, I think Cenk totally fucked up in this interaction, like 100%.
Okay, yeah,
I don't think this was not the way to play it. You were correct. The way to play it would, to try to make those differences known. I mean, I feel like you can make those differences known in a way without being like so insulting. But I guess, you know, I'm trying to think because when we've seen a bunch of Cenk clips. Like I feel like Cenk has two speeds. Okay,
he does.
he has like agree or attack, and that's about it. There's not a lot of like middle range there sometimes. So maybe that's what's going on here.
Right. Yeah. That's my takeaway as well. It's just it seems like a giant missed opportunity. He has to be nervous about the left coming after him. So he's taking this opportunity to make this giant distinction so that he can avoid that.
Right.
I don't necessarily I mean the kind of people that are attacking Cenk Uygur are going to continue to attack him no matter how much he hits Dave Rubin with both barrels, right? This is just going to be invisible to them.
No, that's a good point. That's exactly what I was going to say is, all these dishonest actors on the left that are attacking them, or any of them, I mean, I haven't seen yet. And I would be surprised, but I don't think they're going to cover this. Or if they do cover it, they're just going to hand wave it away as some kind of, part of the grift, right? They're not, they're going to be, and that's sort of the problem with doing these things in the first place is like, okay. And this is why I hate how tribal the online echo chamber becomes. This is what incentivizes people to do the team switch in the first place, is that once the narrative forms that you're the bad actor, that you're the grifter, that you're whatever, it becomes too cemented in the audience's mind and in the pundit's mind, and they're never going to basically acknowledge they were wrong whatsoever to their audience. And so it does incentivize people to just switch sides and try to cultivate an audience on the other side in order to just keep, gaining a larger piece of the pie.
Yeah, unfortunately. Yeah, you need that protection. And you're not going to get that protection from the right if you're just half-assing it, right? So it does,
right.
Yeah.
And you're not going to get it from the left,
in for a pound.
from all these psychopath socialists that are attacking you.
Yeah.
So, but that all said, obviously, I honestly, I think it was just a mistake for Cenk to even be on the panel with Dave Rubin in the first place. I don't know if he knew what the topic was going to be. So,
yeah, I don't even know if he knows Dave Rubin was going to be on the panel. So
right. Yeah, maybe not.
I don't know how much that they agree to in advance. Obviously there's journalistic ethics and whatnot that they a lot of times are able to say, well, we can't give you the questions in advance. They're just like, be here at this place. I mean,
they should tell you who's
time.
on the panel, though, or they should tell you the topics at least.
Well, they might tell you the topics, but they might not tell you who else is on the panel.
Right. But
we're going to be talking about this.
Yeah. No, I mean, obviously, but so I understand. On one hand, I do understand why Cenk is in the situation he's in, where he feels like he has to attack Dave Rubin to sort of protect their own left-wing credibility. On the other hand, I do think that this was the wrong way to handle the situation, because like a big problem here is that, from the audience's perspective, like, I don't know what all the history is. I mean, I know that Dave Rubin was on TYT and left, but I don't know what the history is between, like, I don't know what Dave Rubin has said or done that has got them all mad, and neither does most of the audience. So all we see is like the clips, like optically, all you see is clips of Anna attacking him. And then now you see, and he's seeming to be conciliatory, even though like to the audience, you have to kind of like read between the lines and be like, oh, okay. Like it's actually he's kind of like unknowingly probably pressing a lot of buttons there. and then you see Cenk kind of come out just viciously attacking Dave Rubin. So just doesn't come off well to the audience. It doesn't know like the backstory.
Yeah, I am not a Dave Rubin fan, but like you've put me on Dave Rubin's side. How dare you?
Right. Right.
So very unfortunate.
Piers, it's barely worth responding to this ridiculous buffoon who's the joke of the industry. But I will say this, Cenk, I haven't spoken to you in 10 years.
Even right when you're thinking you're a total fraud.
I don't think he's a fraud or a joke. I think Dave Rubin is, for what it's worth, I think Dave Rubin is one of the most influential and significant voices out there right now.
Oh my God. It's such a glowing endorsement.
That's kind
right
of
now,
insane.
Dave Rubin's staff is clipping that out and using it in advertisements across the internet. That's the kind of endorsement you want, that kind of ringy endorsement.
Right.
And guess who just gave it to him? Cenk Uygur. Like he never would have got that endorsement if Cenk Uygur hadn't have forced it upon him.
Yeah, it's kind of insane. I like Pierce, but he's kind of annoying me because he had an interview with Candace Owens, which was kind of boring actually, and I thought they were going to fight over Israel, but they didn't, which is kind of boring. But he talks about like he's just trying to be, an objective journalist and not be, put his own political bias or his own, ideology into anything. I'm
Such
like, okay,
bullshit.
Yeah, I'm like, that's like a great goal. That's 100% not what goes on in any of these shows whatsoever. So
you can't be having phone calls with Donald Trump and remain objective.
No,
like he's constantly singing the praises of Donald Trump, which is fine. Like you can be a Trump supporter, knock yourself out. Talk to Trump twice a week if you want on the phone, knock yourself out, but then don't come out and say, oh yeah, I'm completely unbiased, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
That's just impossible. Yeah.
And I admire his honesty about the journey he's been on, Cenk.
Piers, I appreciate that, but the thing is, what Cenk just proved is exactly what everyone in America, and I would say all over the world, is getting over. Nobody wants what he just offered up there. Not only does no one believe it, and he had it prepackaged and ready to go, and it's complete drivel. Yes, I sold out. It's just it's so nonsensical. Again, Cenk, I'll gladly send you a signed copy of the book, and you can read all of my thoughts. And if you're anti-corruption and you're anti-war, you should be on the Trump train. But your endless hatred, the division that you sow, calling everyone racist and white supremacist, all of that stuff, it's why you're not respected. But I don't mean to get into the personal side of that. I'm talking about now something that culturally has shifted, and everyone can see the grift that you're up to, trying to sort of dance with the thing. But it's just not necessary, and I don't think that many people will buy it.
Well, Cenk, let me put to you, Cenk, something that Laura. Hang on, Cenk.
I mean, it doesn't really even make sense because. I mean, obviously, Dave Rubin's just hitting back because he just got punched in the face. So, you can make that as a will. But just that line just doesn't make sense because no one's going to and this is what's annoying when people throw the grift accusation. Who's ever done a quote halfway grift dance and been successful?
Yeah.
Is anyone? I can't think of a single political pundit. All the people that quote switch sides or whatever, the more they switch sides, finger quote, switch sides, the bigger they become. No one ever really seems to do well with sort of just this kind of I'm going to be more moderately / nuanced.
Yeah. They go for I'm the immediate convert. Everyone on the left hates you and everyone on the right loves you and you're completely embraced. You do a Prager video, a Prager University video about how you left the left, right? That's exactly what you do.
Right.
Yes. You're like, I'm here. Watch me. You blow up. You get 10 million subscribers overnight.
It's funny.
Yeah.
I was curious because, Dave Rubin said he's never said anything bad about them. And then they were saying that.
Yes.
And then Cenk said that he'd been lying about them. And I was like, okay, I don't know what he's talking about, right?
Yes.
And so I looked on Twitter and I just searched for Dave Rubin tweets replying to Cenk Uygur.
Mm-hmm. Okay, nice.
Okay.
What do you got? Hit us.
It's kind of funny. So this is from, when Israel, blew up all the Hezbollah pagers.
Right. Oh.
So Cenk was against this action, which I vehemently disagree with. But Cenk was against it under the idea that this would cause, a larger war, right? So he put out a tweet about this. He said, hundreds of Hezbollah members injured as their pagers blew up. I don't know anyone else that would want to kill or maim hundreds of people in Lebanon other than Israel. It looks like Netanyahu's answer is war. Israel hasn't been defending itself for months. This is just an offensive way that Israel is starting. It's just an offensive war that Israel is starting all over the Middle East. There now are dangers to the world that we are enabling in a reckless way. The over-the-top corruption of U.S. politics caused all of this. Okay, which I completely disagree with that tweet.
Yeah, me too.
Right, 100%.
No.
Right. So Dave Rubin's response to that is, "Oh, fuck off, you bacon guzzling, terrorist supporting, obese retard."
Well, that.
Shades emoji.
Well, that. Okay. In the context of that, you kind of see where Cenk is coming from here.
Yeah, it kind of changes a little bit of the perception of everything.
I have not said anything. I have not
Right.
attacked them. I've been a perfect angel.
Right.
Bacon guzzling. What?
Yeah, I don't know what that obese retard. You bacon guzzling obese retard. Terrorist supporting. Yeah. Wow. Then I found it was funny. I found a tweet from 2021, so this is a while ago. I don't know what his exactly was a response to, but Cenk is responding to something. And he said, "Here's yet another Trump supporter rooting for Jimmy Dore and hoping he becomes just like the Rubin report. Don't worry, mission accomplished." To which Dave Rubin replied, "Oh, get over it, you grifting, genocide denying loser." Clown emoji.
Wow.
So a lot of bad blood been brewing between the two of them, obviously, for a while.
Yeah.
Though, it's interesting. I started finding tweets like going all the way back to 2015, which I guess is around where things started to sour. And it was Cenk attacking Sam. What's his name?
Cedar?
No.
Who cares?
The atheist guy.
Oh, Sam Harris.
Yeah, attacking Sam Harris, calling him kind of like an Islamophobe and all this other stuff. And Dave Rubin is defending Sam Harris. So I wonder if that's actually the beginning.
That was part of the rift.
The
That was the
rift.
first. Yeah, that was the first rift. You remember Sam Harris went viral in that dust up with Ben Affleck on Bill Maher.
Yes.
And then Cenk Uygur did a sit down with Sam Harris.
I don't remember that.
And it was sort of taking the Ben Affleck perspective.
Wow.
Yeah. So that was a big deal. I mean, that was huge.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And it is interesting too, because I don't know if you remember this, but when Dave Rubin, who does look, this is one of the places that I totally respect Dave Rubin. Like Dave Rubin has an understanding of like showmanship to some extent. So he launched Dave Rubin, the Rubin Report, and his first show was with Sam Harris. Sam Harris was like a big celebrity. So that is like, look, I am being endorsed by Sam Harris on my first show. And it completely launched that show that he put together. So he put a set together in his garage. I mean, it was, it was smart to do that. So he took advantage of that rift. So this situation goes way back. I just look, if Cenk Uygur completely took a different tact right here and tried to strike some chord of reconciliation between the two of them, like it would be that much harder for Dave Rubin to be sniping at him on Twitter with the bacon guzzling fat retard remarks, right? It would. It totally would. It would be more difficult. It really would.
You're correct.
But look, all the audience would be against him. Like there's all the pros and cons of doing this kind of. But this is why this kind of stuff is fascinating, because it is really just a window into human nature and really politics, because this is really like, how do I maneuver this and still maintain my political capital, which is what they're both trying to do.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it's interesting. I thought that the first Rubin report was Blair White and Candace Owens.
Yes.
At least
you did?
That's the first one that sticks out in my mind. So
no, that was after. Yeah.
Okay.
But look,
that feels wasn't that pretty early on, right?
The reason why he got stuff like that, and look, he got Jordan Peterson too. But
that's true.
Yeah.
I'm only joking. I know that wasn't the first one. But
right.
It was
guys,
the first.
Guys. That was I believe, our third show.
That was one of our first shows. Was that one?
I think it was our third.
Oh God, I love that episode. Guys. Guys, if you haven't seen that, oh my God, Blair White and Candace Owens just screeching at each other is so good.
But Dave Rubin has also come out and said, look, I'm not having people on to debate the guests. I think he said one of his heroes is Larry. Oh, now I
Larry
can't remember.
King?
Larry King. That's it. Exactly. And Larry King just, his goal was just to ask questions and let people answer. So he's like,
Right.
I don't want to challenge people. It's weird being in this kind of political environment though, because I do think you can do damage by signal boosting nonsense and just kind of
Of course.
making it sound, giving it the air of integrity through your
Right.
own reputation. So
Right.
yeah.
Well, and also it's more difficult too because, I mean, Larry King never put out a video where he's like, "Why I left the left."
Right.
So,
Oh yeah, that's
it's
true.
just, oh, here it is. That's interesting. I went to Dave Rubin's channel and I was like, I got to oldest and I was kind of scrolling to see. He had the all new Rubin report coming September 9th, 2015. And then he's got Sam Harris on the first show right there.
Yeah.
Look at that.
2015. Look at that. The 2015. I think I
Yeah.
started my YouTube channel in 2015.
Wow.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. The beginning of it all before the 2016 apocalypse. You remember that?
Oh God, I know, it's terrible. And then I think it looks like pretty early on he had Majid Nawaz on pretty early.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
he's best friends with like Sam Harris. Like this is how it works. You get Sam Harris.
I
And
don't
Sam
think they're
Harris
friends
is like,
anymore. I would wait sure.
oh really?
I see Majid saying
Sam
some
Harris.
pretty sus
Oh,
things on Twitter.
they had a fall. They wrote a book together, so they had to be somewhat friends.
Okay, right.
Yeah.
I'm just curious. I don't know if they were talking about it, but then
Manjeet Nawaz, is that his name?
Majid Nawaz.
Yeah.
And then very early on he had Milo Yiannopoulos. Look at that.
Yes. Yeah.
Very early on he had Milo Yiannopoulos.
Milo. Yeah. Who? I mean, doesn't everyone agree Milo is a grifter?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. He's got Milo on. It's 2015. It's like Milo exposes Gamergate because remember Milo tried to make himself the face of Gamergate, and unfortunately, people didn't realize what a grifter he was, and kind of allowed him to do that for a while.
He had on Lauren Southern, and he had on the CEO of Patreon who deplatformed Lauren Southern.
That's right.
Remember? That's where we got the observable behavior thing.
Yes.
The stupid thing that they said, oh yeah, we can deplatform you for observable behavior. You can say whatever you want. We're a free speech platform, but when we observe behavior,
right,
that's where we draw the line.
It's interesting because I'm looking at his views. That Milo video is the first view on his channel that did super well. He had 2 Milo videos that both got over 2 million views.
Oh, okay. Look at that.
Which is kind of interesting. They had Michael Steele, not Christopher Steele. He had Michael Steele on. He had Ayana Hershey Ali on. So yeah, I mean, he was getting a good guest.
Yeah.
A young Douglas Murray. Wow, look at that.
Yeah, Douglas Murray's great. Yeah, no. This is so sad because I mean
Peter Boghossian was on. Look at that.
Yeah. I do believe we've had Peter Boghossian on our show. Right. We've had Cenk on our show too. We've had Dave Smith right there on the panel on our show too.
It's funny because Cenk starts throwing all this praise to Dave Smith.
Oh, I know he does. Look at Dave.
Funny.
Look, I've had my differences with Dave Smith, but Dave Smith's comedy routine just on the fly here is 1,000 times better than Dave Rubin's.
It's very smart. Yeah,
his
Smith
response
plays this very
is fucking funny as fuck. Yes.
Yeah, he
very
plays it
funny.
perfectly.
Yeah. Very good.
Hang on, Cenk, hang on. I'm gonna read you something just to see your reaction. But Laura Loomer called you out on X, as you know, and she said this: "You are the radical left, Cenk Uygur. You're a con artist and an opportunistic grifter who's gotten rich off demonizing President Trump, calling his supporters fascists and Nazis, promoting open borders, glorifying Hamas, and pushing conspiracy theories about Trump for 9 years. If you want forgiveness, get on your filthy knees and pray to Allah, because you aren't welcome on the right and you aren't ever going to find a redemption arc no matter how hard you pander." And she goes on and on. I'm going to keep calling you out every time you try to move an inch closer to many on the right, because you're too dense and too dumb, because they're too dense and too dumb to decode your subversion, but I'm not. So look, there are lots of people on the right who think that you're on some great move here to, as she puts it, wiggle your way into the middle and over to the right, so you can then poison MAGA with your, as she puts it, subhuman political takes. Your
now, why does Cenk Uygur even go on this fucking show? That's what I'm asking myself. Like
so
he's just like
funny.
he's just like Piers Morgan's punching bag.
I know.
At this point,
I know. It's so good.
this is not even. I mean, I'm feeling a little bad here. I feel like we're witnessing a murder here. This is
It's pretty hilarious.
like why? This is Cenk Uygur dared to go against Trump, and Piers is like, I'm an unbiased journalist. Here, let me pull out this fucking tweet from Laura Loomer of all people. Oh my God, the most unbiased person on the right.
Right. Well, see, Cenk makes opportunity here. He could have been like, listen, Lauren Loomer told me to get on my knees, but unlike her, I don't get on my knees.
Oh, what is that, like a Laura Loomer thing? I don't know.
Because people were saying that she was sucking Trump off, you know.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So.
I don't. That wouldn't play well with the
I know,
women
but
in his audience.
Be fun.
Hardcore feminist Cenk Uygur. So. Cenk. Dude, he is like fearless, though. I mean, man.
Yeah.
Oh man. Poor Lindy in the middle here. Look, she even realizes this is a murder going on.
I know.
thoughts.
Yeah. Okay, so look, this is people like Laura Loomer and Dave Rubin are the exact problem. And I think actually somebody else on this panel was part of the solution. That's Dave Smith. And I want to come back to that in a second. So when you have people like Dave Rubin switch all of their positions, what happens is when you go to do nuance and you say, hey guys, hold on, let me explain. Hold on.
Note he can't.
Yeah. Hey, go pleasure Trump again. Go pleasure Trump again.
Do you know that
he goes from Bernie to Trump and pretends. Come on, brother. Come on, brother.
See, I hate this line. Like, Cenk, there are millions of voters that went from Bernie to Trump.
Right.
Like, how do you not know that?
Mm-hmm.
Like, the Bernie Trump voter is a phenomenon we've been talking about since 2016.
Yep.
I tell people what I believe in, and I'm
believe in? You believed in something yesterday.
It.
You don't believe in anything today.
Yeah. What position? What position do you think I hold that I don't honestly believe?
Can I answer the question?
Yeah.
Can I answer the question? Can I answer Trump?
Yeah. What position do I say that I believe that I don't really believe? Go ahead,
brother. You went on Fox News with Tucker Carlson. You went on Tucker Carlson on Fox News and said gay people, that the fact that the fire department was recruiting gay people was why there was forest fires. You're a national embarrassment. Okay,
that's a complete misrepresentation.
What do you say?
Of his position.
I would find it hard to believe that he said that. Yeah.
I don't know that we'll make it to it, but he is saying that we should hire people based on merit. And if you're hiring gay people, just have gay people who know nothing about fighting fires, and you're probably, which, I mean, that's a rational argument.
Come on, Cenk. Boo.
Yeah.
Boo.
So you're completely misrepresenting his argument, Cenk.
Right.
Which is part of the problem.
Yeah.
Look, you got, like Anna said, you got to have a good argument. Okay. Come on.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys for a living.
You can pull up the clip tomorrow if you want.
Okay.
I was talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion, that you shouldn't hire people based on their genitals or their sexual orientation. And we now all know that. You have been one of the prime pushers of all of this neo-racism. I believe in meritocracy, that whether you're going to be a doctor or a firefighter or a basketball player or anything else, you should be hired on your qualifications, not your genitals or sexual orientation or skin color. That's actually America, so you can keep trying here.
Cenk, finish your point, and then I'll go to Dave Smith.
Listen, yes. When this country desperately needs to unite against the establishment on things we all agree on, so things like all the populists hate corruption. All the populists hate war. By the way, Dave doesn't. Dave will demand that we start every war for Israel and pay for all of Israel's war. So he's been establishment on that all along. But when you go to say, hey, can we get an agreement on things that we agree on? the left pushes back because they're so afraid. They got traumatized by the Dave Rubins in the world.
Who's muted Dave Rubin? Why is he muted?
Yeah, they just started doing this because people complain that you can't hear them when everyone's talking at once.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. They should tell him, like, Dave, no one can hear you. They just hear you like faintly mumbling
I
in
know.
the background.
Just muffled. I'm sure they know now after they've watched the clip. So people get wise to it. This is like,
it's not smart. Obviously, this is not good.
Yeah. And just this perspective. I mean, Cenk is guilty of promoting this perspective. And look, Anna has done the mea culpa on that. Like she said, look, I was wrong to think all Republicans are racist.
Right.
And a big part of why the left is mad at her is because those are people who believe that all Republicans are racist, right?
Yeah,
They're like, look, I like that stereotype. That stereotype works for them. So they don't want to believe it. And Anna getting thrown under the bus is part of that.
I don't think this maneuver that Cenk is trying to do here is going to work either. This sort of like, I'm just going to be on the side of the populace now. The left wing and the right wing populace like coalescing. I can't see that working.
I can't either. Yeah. The pivot that is the problem is the thing that I kept pointing out in the election. I'm like, you're calling the dude a fascist. Like, how do you work with a fascist, right?
Yeah.
You sound like a complete and utter hypocrite. So you're locking yourself into a position. That's the problem there. So,
yeah, well, that's why, even as unhinged as Laura Loomer is, her tweet has power and truth to it. Because it's like, yeah, you were so aggressive against these people, calling them, evil, blah, 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 blah. It's kind of hard to walk that back without a much stronger, I was wrong.
Yeah, you can't do it just not without any kind of mea culpa. And Cenk is incapable of that. Like the whole Rittenhouse thing is the perfect example, right? Because he tries to have his cake and eat it too on Rittenhouse, right? He's tried to find this kind of middle position where Anna has just come out and said, look, I never watched the videos. Once I watched them, I realized I was completely wrong. And I blame the news media for continuing to stoke the story that he was some sort of white supremacist that shot into a crowd. Like there's plenty of cover. You had Don Lemon on CNN starting that narrative the night all those videos went viral.
Yep.
Like basically locking everyone in to motivated reasoning, right? Yeah. Confirmation bias. They wanted to confirm what they had heard first. Ironically, so many people just want to confirm what they heard first.
They're like, oh, if you take one step, not even in their direction, if you allow the right wing to take a step in our direction, they're worried that you're going to be a fraud like Dave Rubin and change all of your positions overnight. So my friends on the left, do not get scarred by this fraud of a man. There are other people like Dave Smith, who
let me bring in Dave
is a libertarian. We disagree on other issues.
Let me bring in Dave Smith.
But we can actually unite on the things that we care about.
Right. Let me bring in Dave Smith.
In order to unite, you got to get past the frauds like Dave Rubin.
Right. Dave Smith.
The thing standing in the way of us uniting is Dave Rubin.
Dave Rubin, yeah. I mean, I don't think that's true, but
yeah, I don't either. Yeah, Dave Rubin was a part of the whole heterodox thing. I mean, he was friends enough with Jordan Peterson for Jordan Peterson to invite him on his first tour to open up. Right, and then he realized that his wife was actually funnier than Dave Rubin. He's like, I'll just have my wife open up. She's like,
that's funny.
Her jokes are better.
I do think part of the issue is that Dave Rubin I don't know if it would have made that much of a difference because of the way tribalism works. Like people use Dave Rubin as an excuse. So even if Dave Rubin theoretically didn't exist, I don't think it would have made much of a difference. But it's just, Dave Rubin is the go-to, like whenever anyone tries to, change their politics from left to moderate or to right or to just not being so tribal, like they always get hit with the Dave Rubin label. So he's kind of become like the poster child for, like this attack against people if they, try to change their position at all.
Yeah. The pivot.
Yeah.
Why isn't Hunter Avalon?
because no one, well, because Hunter went the other direction.
No, no
But-
one knows Hunter Avalon.
Right, but also
obviously,
because
so-
Dave Rubin, I think he did well, obviously financially.
Oh,
so
yeah,
that's definitely
yeah.
plays in a part of it.
Yeah, he did do well. So I think we're gonna move on now, right? Unless you want to hear.
Just play Dave Smith's. Dave Smith has a very good response here. It's very
Okay.
smart. So we'll play that and then
play
we'll
it.
move on.
Welcome back to Uncensored. Obviously, things have kicked off. I actually thought there might have been a coming together moment, and not the way it went, but it's gone the opposite way.
Now, would he pull out the Laura Loomer quote if it had
No.
gone in a more positive
No.
direction?
What's a 100%?
He's like,
lie.
oh, this is.
Complete lie.
If it went in the more positive direction, he would pull out the Laura Loomer quote to kind of like stoke the fire.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Look, we know we're on to you, Pierce. We're on to you.
Let's just take what Dave Rubin was saying and then how Cenk responded. But it seems to me that this big tent thing of Trump, I mean, it's very real. His popularity in America has never been higher than it is today. He's got an incredible mandate. The Republicans basically now are in charge of absolutely everything. You've got everyone who formally distanced themselves in 2016 racing down to Mar-a-Lago to kiss the ring and so on. I mean, it's a real opportunity, but it's undeniably an extraordinary coming together of people from all types of political views and so on, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. And let me just say for the record that I like both Dave and Cenk.
So do I. I agree.
Cenk did work in a compliment toward me, and Dave, you weren't able to do that, so I'm going to be on Cenk's side on this issue now.
Dave, you and I have some.
There you go. Perfect way to handle the situation. Okay, just throw out a joke, right?
This is, I've noticed, this is Trump's go-to move with Trumpian humor.
Mm-hmm.
He does constantly go to the joke. Well, that person likes me, so I like them.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is smart. Very
It
smart.
is, and it's human nature. It's something everyone can relate to. It's like, oh, this person is nice to me, so I love them.
Right.
Yes. No, that was great. That was great. Good job, Dave.
Okay. We can move
Got a
on.
laugh out of the whole panel.
Move on from the story now. But so there you go.
Yeah, if you guys haven't watched this, you definitely tune in. Also, Lindy is great. She was a bundler of campaign finance money raiser for the Kamala Harris campaign. And I guess they completely threw her under the bus after she started asking questions because she felt like the donors were given a load of bullshit by the Kamala Harris campaign. So she's kind of been on a lot of these shows exposing the hypocrisy on the left. So it's kind of fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which obviously it's nothing new to us. It's so weird. And it is a testament to the Jonathan Haidian kind of perspective that, everybody is a giant hypocrite, right? Like they want to stand on their self-righteous soapbox and talk about how, they're the morally righteous ones, right? But as soon as someone steps out of line, the gloves come off. It's like every kind of macro aggression you can throw at them is fair game. So
Right.
yeah. Bullshit. Anyway.
Okay.
So what are we moving on
talk
to?
about the Disney story.
The Disney
story. But first, No Step on Snake for $20. Thank you so much. Says all this would be much more salacious if Rubin wasn't such a legendary midwit. Oof.
Look, he's massively successful, right? So I have not read his book. I can't imagine it being entertaining. This is the first time I've heard that it's a New York Times bestseller, which is kind of shocking to me. So maybe I will read it. The last dust up I remember is he was trying to get on to Joe Rogan to promote his book, and Joe Rogan snubbed him. So
really?
Did you know about that? Yeah.
No.
Very sad. Very Hollywood though. Like people just know this in Hollywood, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're only as good. They always say you're only as good as your last project, right? You can fall out of favor very quickly, and everyone's just like, "Yeah, he's not popular anymore."
I don't
Fuck
know.
that guy.
It's so weird because sometimes that's true. Sometimes in Hollywood, someone they have one bomb and then they're done forever. And sometimes people just continually crap out garbage and they just keep getting work. And you're like, what happened? How's
Well,
this
there,
happening?
there's always going to be work available, whether or not it's work that you want to do. Like the
Right.
famous example is Quentin Tarantino reviving John Travolta's career. Like John Travolta's career was pretty much over. And then Quentin Tarantino came in and completely revitalized it.
Right. Right.
So,
Ryan Wolf for $20 says Anna's acting how progressives should have been doing from the start. She wants to make progress towards her goals, even if it's small steps. A lot of progressives today just want final results immediately, not small steps. That's true.
I do think, and I am obviously somewhat persuaded by the arguments in the fourth turning is here. I do think this is a time when there could be like a lot of gains. So people should be aware of that and cautiously optimistic about it. So obviously
Okay.
people on the left, I don't think are going to be optimistic about it because they're going to perceive those gains as complete wipeouts.
Right. Right.
Because they're going to see like, oh, wow, no trans women in sports. They're going to be like, ah. But afterwards, maybe they'll stop that stupid untrue thing that they always say about like progressives always win. They always have this idea that progressive gains are forever. That
Right.
history always favors the progressives.
Right. Which is completely untrue, but
Yeah.
whatever. I mean, it's funny because we're literally living in a time period where the more left-wing progressive message won on economics for 40 years from like 1940 to 1980 and then completely got annihilated by the right. And we're still living in that time period and it's never shifted back. So we're living in a time period that disproves that entire point, but
Yeah, of
people
course.
don't realize the water that they're swimming in.
Yeah.
Okay. So in news of woke dying, dun dun dun, Disney was making a TV show based on Inside Out for their streaming service called Win or Lose. This is a series that followed a co-ed middle school softball team. And there'd be like a bunch of episodes that would kind of go over the different people and their struggles and blah, 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 blah. And originally, there was going to be a trans female character, and there was going to be an episode about kind of, her battling with her gender identity.
Thank God.
Or I don't know if it was
cannot believe this.
Right. I don't know if it was a whole episode or just like a little part of an episode, but regardless, they completely removed that segment and they removed any dialogue that referenced the character as being trans. And now the character is officially a cis girl, according to Disney in reporting.
Right. Yeah.
The spokesperson for Disney confirmed that the story arc was removed and said, when it comes to animated content for a younger audience, we recognize that many parents would prefer to discuss certain subjects with their children on their own terms and timeline, which I 1000% agree with. And this is a great signal to show that woke is on the way out.
So, there are all these reporting rules about when celebrities commit suicide because they want to avoid a bunch of dumb teenagers committing suicide in the same way.
Right.
These people are completely influenced by this. It's been well studied in psychology for literally like 50 years, right? So the idea that Pixar would put this kind of storyline into a movie or a television show just makes me think, what the fuck are you doing planting these ideas in kids' heads, right? Like, why not just have a storyline about a kid contemplating suicide, right?
Right.
Like,
Not
that would
great.
be as stupid, as ridiculous.
They're not thinking of it that way at all. That's
I
the
know they're
problem.
not. And that is the problem. That is exactly the problem. Yeah. Why not put an anorexic storyline in and have somebody talk about how, oh, it's okay. Being anorexic is normal.
Right.
It's fine.
I sent you a clip. Somehow it leaked of what is it called? The Animaniac, the
Mhm.
animatic, I think, the animatic of one of the scenes, and you could play
Okay.
it without. There's music in it, so play without the. It's like a minute long. Play without the music. You know, it's. I'm a little conflicted because obviously I agree this stuff should not be in the kids show for everything that you just said. But from an artistic level, I do think it's like a pretty well animated scene that if they were to put in something like kind of adult content, I wouldn't have a problem with it.
Oh, okay. I have it up. I guess I'll just start at the beginning. It's a
Yeah.
minute and it's a minute and 14,
14
right? I
seconds.
turned
Yeah,
the
yeah.
volume off.
Right.
So for those of you just listening, we have it looks like somebody with a backpack walking to, I guess, to a bathroom. Is that what's
Yeah, the
going
whole
on
thing
here?
is like they're trans, they're confronted with the bathroom situation.
Okay. Here.
And kind of coach
Or
comes,
janitor
it's a
or
coach.
pizza man
It's a coach.
comes in and talks to them. So
Right. So they, maybe feel a little better. So no, I like the way it's animated. I think it's very cool. I like the way in which they sort of portray the struggle. But obviously, this stuff should not be in children's cartoons. So
I just, how is this not like the ugly duckling story?
that's kind of the problem, is that I feel like that's why I'm so against all this stuff for kids, is because that's one of I think the big false positives is it is a lot of ugly duckling stuff going on, or a lot of kids who, a lot of kids feel weird when they're going through puberty, which is completely normal, and they don't know exactly what they're feeling. Maybe they're gay, maybe they're straight, and it's just so easy for it to all get kind of confused as being trans and end up making kind of life altering decisions that they shouldn't be making and don't need to be making.
Yeah, look, if you're obviously the ugly duckling story is to tell people, look, you might be ugly as a kid, but once you become an adult, you're like good looking, right?
Right.
There's always that opportunity. What if so many of these people are like, they're basically really dealing with the fact that they feel like they're unattractive, and then they fixate on this, if I transition, I'll be more attractive. But they're really denying themselves the opportunity that they could turn into a beautiful swan once they hit puberty, and the ugly situation will no longer be a thing. I think it's so easy to like. Look, I often say, give me a classroom full of kids, and
he'll trans them all.
No, I can convince them all that they have fucking cancer. Okay.
Right.
I'll convince them all that they have some kind of cancer. Okay. I can send every one of those kids home. Yeah. Why would you do something like that? It's completely ridiculous. Why would you send all of those kids home talking to their parents about how they have fucking cancer? It's just, and the scientific research on this stuff is so just it's not there. Like they don't have the overwhelming evidence, the overwhelming proof. So it's just, anyway. I gotta constantly do my disclaimer. I fully accept there are people who grow to adults and they suffer from a thing called gender dysphoria, and their lives are infinitely better if they can transition. So it's an actual phenomenon, but there are also these other phenomenons that take place with kids that just these two issues butt up against one another, and in ways that I think are creating a bunch of false positives and a bunch of problems for a lot of people's lives.
That is true. That's all true.
Yeah. So thank goodness Disney is going to avoid a bunch of lawsuits, a bunch of people who come out and say, oh yeah, my kid saw this thing and then thought they were trans, and then the doctors trans them, and now they're detransitioners, and it all began with this Disney program, which I'm in favor of. I think they should sue the shit out of Disney for stuff like that. Can you imagine? Like if they had some storyline of a kid struggling with wanting to kill themselves, and then a bunch of kids killed themselves, of course there would be tons of lawsuits.
Right.
And they'd have firm psychological studies to stand on. It'd be easy to pull an expert into court.
Yeah, I mean, it'd be interesting. I don't know if anyone's ever, like, when that Netflix show came out about
that they canceled.
Like, did anyone get sued for that? I don't think anyone got sued for that though.
Yeah, I
have
don't
to pay
know.
like family. So it might be difficult to prove that in court, even though I think it's 100% could definitely have happened. So
Yes. So look, we're winning. People are understanding.
right.
You're actually damaging normal kids' lives
Yep.
because you're trying to save a few trans people that are so few, it doesn't even matter. You shouldn't think about the issue at all.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Okay. So I'm trying to find a picture for you here to bring up here.
I brought up some articles.
Well, I want to talk about the Luigi.
Oh, really?
You
Okay.
got here, I'll send you a picture. The PP pants picture.
Oh, your favorite.
My favorite.
I know it's weird because there was a time when a lot of the networks were like, this person is evil and we're not going to even use their name. Like they do this often with mass shooters, right? We're not going to use his name. We're not going to use his picture. We don't want people to idolize this person. But all that is thrown out the window with Luigi. Luigi's like, oh, let's put his picture up. Look how cute he is. Here he is, smiling
Right.
for the camera. Rather disgusting, but whatever.
Very disgusting. So in the PP shooter news, the P pants shooter news, there was the grand jury today came back, and we have the charges that New York will levy against Luigi here.
Okay, let's hear him.
So we have first degree murder, which we're going to come back to because there's something interesting there. We have 2 counts of second degree murder. We have 2 counts of second degree criminal possession of a weapon, 4 counts of third degree criminal possession of a weapon, 1 count of fourth degree criminal possession of a weapon, and 1 count of second degree criminal possession of a forged instrument, which is because he had the fake ID,
right?
Yeah, the fake ID, right? So the interesting thing about this, besides all these charges, is that the first degree murder charge and the 2 counts of second degree murder charge, in order to get a first degree murder charge in New York, there's like certain things that have to be associated with it. The victim has to either be a police officer or a judge or a witness in a case or something like that. The murderer has to have been already serving a life sentence. The murderer had to have committed torture against the victim, or it has to be classified as an act of terrorism.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very interesting. I saw a lot of people on the left get very, very mad about this, which I think is completely preposterous. They're very mad that they want to try to slap Luigi with a terrorism charge here, which how is this anything other than terrorism? You have a person kills someone who is a civilian with the purpose of trying to enact a political change, which is a classic textbook definition of a terrorist act.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Look, it's meant to terrorize CEOs of health companies, obviously.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, isn't Taylor Lorenz guilty of terrorism too? She's the one doxing all the other CEOs.
She should be.
Yeah.
She should be. Yeah.
They should bring her up on those terrorism charges as well.
Stochastic terrorism. Maybe even terrorism. It's like with stochastic terrorism.
Yeah.
But it's also interesting because I know a lot of people were worried about jury nullification. And I mean, I know the grand jury, the charges is different, but if you're getting a grand jury to throw out, these very high level charges. So I'm saying I think there's very, very little chance this guy is gonna walk. I think people are completely wrong in that one.
So you're seeing that? You're thinking people are saying jury nullification is going to take place and this guy's
a lot of people are saying that.
Really?
People in our audience are saying that. They're convinced that this guy's going to get off. And I think they're just so completely wrong that there's no chance of that happening.
Sitch doesn't read any comments. Adam here reads all your comments. So leave me a comment if you think this guy's going to get off.
People were super chatting it in the past streams.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, I do. So. Yeah, I do remember that. I do remember we got some super chats there. So look, please super chat, but look, you're crazy.
I mean, you have a video of the guy from behind. You have a video of him wearing the same outfit from the front. You have the video or a picture of him in a cab right after he did it, with his face revealed. He's found with the gun, with the murder weapon, with his manifesto on his person. So it's just, I don't think so. I just do not believe for a second that there's going to be like this is going to be a remotely controversial ruling or anything like that. I think they're going to slap him with everything very quickly, and he's going to get life in prison.
But God, it's funny that I'm the one that said, "Oh, I love telling people they're wrong," but I do think you like it 10 times more than me. I think you really love telling people they're wrong.
I don't think so. I don't think I get something from telling people they're wrong.
Really?
I just think they're wrong. I just like when everyone like sees reality correctly.
Right.
Objectively.
And by reality, you mean your
my view of reality.
Yeah,
yes.
exactly.
So that's the correct view, obviously. Anyone that disagrees is just subjectively wrong.
No.
So
see, that is a true enlightened position when you realize people can have other opinions and they're not wrong.
no, obviously, I'm just joking. You can have different opinions on things, right? I mean, this is an opinion because it hasn't happened yet. So,
right.
But that's my prediction. I think he's going to get slammed with all charges, and I think the jury is not going to deliberate for a very long time. That's my prediction. I'm locking it in before they even select. Okay. Now, I guess there's always a possibility that they could completely fuck up a jury selection, and there could be some socialist hiding in there, but I'm skeptical.
They're going to try.
They will try.
I think, especially such a high profile trial like this, they're going to have people looking at all the jurors' social media. They're going to know, they're going to know if these people are trying to be sneaky. So
I mean, that's going to be the hardest part of this case will literally just be the jury selection.
Yeah, of course.
That's the hardest part. Everything else is going to be a cakewalk.
Because there are going to be a lot of people that are going to be trying to play. Oh yeah, going to be trying to play it like they're a hang 'em high type juror.
Yep.
So that they can get on there and just be the one holdout.
Yeah, or they're going to. I'm sure there's already people that have wiped their social media and in New York in anticipation for trying to sneak on to the jury somehow.
Right.
So. Okay.
Interesting.
Now, the big fight of the day today politically is, oh my God, the government shutdown is upon us, as it is always upon us every few years, it seems like. The continual government shutdown. And so there's some interesting parts about this, which I mean, honestly, I don't give a shit about these government shutdowns. I feel like we've gone through enough of them that they've kind of like lost their luster, so to speak. Right? It's like, okay,
mint the coin.
Yeah, government's threatening to shut down again. We've been through a months long government shutdown. The country survived. Right? Like, obviously, it's bad for people, and it'd be very bad for government workers or anyone that receives government assistance or any private companies that have government contracts. Like right before Christmas, that they're going to have financial troubles. So I am empathetic to those people. But I don't know. They always fight, they posture, and they eventually figure it out anyway. So, but the interesting thing about this to me is sort of that the part of the way that this all came about was apparently, at first, Donald Trump was really, and this makes perfect sense from Donald Trump's perspective. He wants, and he actually said this, I believe, in one of the interviews that we watched. He wanted them to pass a budget, and he wanted them to pass a debt ceiling increase because he doesn't want to deal with that during his term. He doesn't want the Democrats to be able to essentially hold him or the Republicans hostage over any of this stuff, and maybe even more, he doesn't want some of the people in the Republican Party to hold him hostage over the debt ceiling or in his budget stuff, is what always happens. And so he's just like, pass it all, get it all passed before I'm even president, so I can just kind of come in on a clean slate here and do what I want to do. And
who is the king piece of shit on these debt ceiling things?
The king piece of shit?
Yeah, the king of all the pieces of shit on these debt ceiling.
Well, it used to be Ted Cruz. I don't know who it is nowadays.
Is it Ted Cruz? I thought it was Matt Gaetz.
Oh, really? Okay, I wouldn't be surprised. You're right. He was last time. Matt Gaetz was.
yeah.
Matt Gaetz was pretty into it last time.
Now, if you remember, Matt Gaetz owes somebody a favor. Who is that?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, exactly.
But Matt Gaetz isn't in Congress anymore.
Not until the new Congress comes in. And what is Donald Trump trying to do?
He's like,
He's trying to
listen,
get this dealt with before the fucking new Congress
right,
comes in.
right. That's
All
true.
of this is starting to make perfect sense. Why Matt
Interesting.
Gaetz gets this nomination for Attorney General.
Right. Okay. Here it is. This was a 1,000-dimension chess move by Donald Trump. Donald Trump is like, okay, if I nominate Matt Gaetz as Attorney General, that'll force him to drop out to avoid the ethics report, which, by the way, they're releasing anyway, so it didn't even work. But
I know, but
I know.
that's not Donald Trump's problem.
No, right. So in order to get Matt Gaetz to drop out so that they can pass the debt bill with Matt Gaetz is in the time that Matt Gaetz is not in Congress. There's your like 100D chess move from Donald Trump. He planned it all. He figured it all out.
Well, it is convenient. It's definitely, Trump does tend to be luckier than most people, I think. So,
Right. Well, I don't know. See, but here's where the luck kind of runs out is because so Trump, who's been having a pretty positive relationship with Mike Johnson, the Republican Speaker of the House, he's been in communications with him recently, and he'd been kind of trying to get Mike Johnson to, push really hard to get this continuing resolution to pass. And then what happens is Mike Johnson seems to go along with that. They're trying to pass something. And then Elon Musk kind of comes out of the fucking darkness and says, like, this bill sucks. And if you pass it, I'm going to donate money to your opponents to primary you. And so,
right.
And then Trump, after Elon Musk kind of attacks it, Trump also then starts attacking it. It's weird. Trump kind of, his statements they're both attacking it, but also saying that you need to pass something. So he's kind of trying to have both ends here. And this kind of completely 100% throws Mike Johnson under the bus, because now all the Republicans are criticizing Mike Johnson, saying, well, why did he even, let this come to fruition in the first place? If he brings this continuing resolution to a vote, then he's out of here. And so it's kind of putting a lot of pressure on Mike Johnson and Trump's relationship by, kind of throwing him out to the wolves here.
Yeah. And I mean, obviously, I think the left knows, people on the left know that this narrative that Elon Musk is really the president and Donald Trump is taking a backseat to Elon Musk. I think they know that will get under Trump's skin, and it's a good narrative to drive a rift between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, which I think ultimately all of their political opposition wants to do. I mean, it's not just a left-right thing. It's just, you're against them, right? Obviously, they're a force to be reckoned with together. So driving some sort of wedge between them is probably good politics for anyone that has to do battle against them legislatively.
Yes. Yeah. And that's, you can bring up that comic that you sent me.
Yeah. This is terrible. And look, I think even our first super chat you could read is something to the same effect. So
right. And this comic that shows Elon Musk and JD Vance driving the car, and then you got Donald Trump in the back seat with like the kiddie wheel, and they're like, oh, it's cute. He thinks he's actually steering.
Right. Yeah.
So, and it's also, there's another level of interest here too, because normally someone like Elon Musk, you'd say, okay, he only has power to affect this kind of political change via Donald Trump, putting him in charge of Doge or something. So ultimately,
Doge has no power though.
No, well, hold on. Let me finish. Hold on.
Okay. Go ahead.
So ultimately, Elon Musk is sort of just beholden to Trump, but that's not really the case, because Elon Musk, being as wealthy as he is and being as, powerful he is on Twitter, and if he's threatening to primary people himself, right? Not, he's saying like it's almost like he's signaling, whether he intends to or not, which is kind of weird. Maybe it is intentional to say, I have power outside of Donald Trump. You should do what I say. And I wonder if that kind of messaging or that symbol is going to contribute to a potential rift.
Yeah. I mean, this needs to be navigated very carefully. It depends upon how much this kind of situation, this kind of narrative, these comics, these memes are going to get under Donald Trump's skin, right?
Right.
Donald Trump has achieved the 2-term non-consecutive president status that he always wanted, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, and look, I think in the hierarchy, it's the 2-term president. Well, it's the 2-term non-consecutive president, then the 2-term president, then the CEO, then the 1-term president, right?
Right.
So Donald Trump is definitely higher than Elon Musk in the status hierarchy, but Elon Musk is a different situation, right? It's close.
Right.
If Donald Trump perceives he's being outshined by Elon Musk, oh, that's got to be torture for him. So,
Well,
this
the question,
this rift could work.
yeah, it could work. I mean, the question is anyone? I mean, Donald Trump is not going on social media himself. People have to show him this. So I don't know if anyone's running to Donald Trump to sow the seeds of distrust here, throwing out the apples of discord, saying, look at all these comics of people saying that Elon's in charge. Like someone would have to be showing this to Trump, I think, for him to become cognizant of it. Unless they're just talking about it on Fox News, which he does watch pretty regularly.
Strolling through Twitter. He knows what's going on.
Donald Trump is not scrolling through. No, he watches Fox News. So if they're talking about Fox News, then yeah, he'll get it there.
Okay,
but I don't think he's
they might keep him
Twitter
insulated.
So
they're going to pull a Biden situation, right?
But
they're just going to keep it a secret from him.
They
don't
might.
Tell Donald.
But whenever you have power, especially the presidency, you're going to have various factions, and I'm sure there's a faction in Trump's camp of anti-Elon people who definitely could be sliding Trump these little memes to kind of, turn Trump against him. I don't know.
Of course, that makes perfect sense right there.
Right.
But at this point, I'm not sure. Oh man, it pains me to say this, but would Elon DM this to Trump just because he thinks it's funny? Oh, look at this.
I mean, if that would be the height of massive, like that would be so stupid if he did that.
That would be so naive, right?
That would be massively stupid. So
wow.
I don't.
I mean, they have to coordinate. Like this is the class. What is the first law of power?
Never outshine the master.
Never outshine the master. This is the perfect example of that, is it not?
Yeah.
Elon Musk is doing a lot of outshining the master here.
He could be.
Oh my God. Anyway, I'm mystified that it's like that it could potentially blow up before Trump even takes the Oval Office.
That would be incredible.
Yeah. Well, we have 30 days here. 30 days. And look, I'm agnostic on the bill situation. It sounds like there was a bunch of stuff in there that probably was shoved in.
I'm
that
sure
shouldn't have been in
there. Always
there.
is stuff.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm open to the fact that the bill could have been taken down for good reasons. So.
Yeah, I don't know. Though I did hear that supposedly some of the things that people were claiming that were in there were not actually in there.
Oh, really?
Yeah, something about Ukraine and something about a football team. They're saying that stuff wasn't actually in there. But
I can't stand Vivek, but I mean, I think it's like a personal thing. I know a lot of you guys love Vivek, so, but I think you love Vivek for the reason that I hate Vivek. Vivek is like, he's just like law of the jungle with the economy, and I think, really, do we need to be savages? Aren't we sort of a civilized society here?
It's just annoying. Like with Vivek, it's annoying that his fix on this is so wildly not ever going to happen. He keeps saying that the budget has to start from scratch, from zero.
Yeah, good luck with that.
That's literally never going to happen and is literally impossible because the government's just too big to kind of figure out. Like it would take more than a year probably to write that budget if you started from zero. So I get the thought process of why you'd want that, but it's just not a feasible solution to anything.
Yeah, it would take 10 years to do a 1-year budget.
Right.
Yeah.
So, but here's something interesting. And I actually, listen, I'm going to give Donald Trump major props for this. Okay. I give Donald Trump major props for this. Donald Trump, in his infinite wisdom, okay, Donald Trump, I'm now on the Trump train, everybody. I'll forgive everything, Adam. You said, what would Donald Trump have to do to make you forgive Sitch?
I know. Look, I love this. I do. Look,
right.
All you like TDS haters out there, fucking listen to this.
Look at this.
Sitch is going full fucking MAGA here.
Okay, I might be teasing a little bit, but
wait.
But
don't pull your punches here.
I'm gonna pull the rug already. But
this would make America great.
Yes, but I massively support this, and I will 100% throw nothing but praise at Donald Trump if he gets this done. Donald Trump wants to get rid of the fucking debt ceiling. Oh, thank God! Look at this.
Yeah, it needs to go. It definitely needs to go. Oh, look, Matt Gaetz is right there in the picture.
There it is. In a phone interview with NBC News, Trump said getting rid of the debt ceiling would be the smartest thing if Congress could do it, and that he would support it entirely. Quote, the Democrats have said they want to get rid of it. If they want to get rid of it, I would lead the charge.
Yes.
Look at that.
Now, the debt ceiling only ever seems to favor Republicans because Republicans are the ones that take advantage of it. They hold hostages and threaten old lady Social Security checks in the way that the Democrats seem completely afraid to do. So abolishing the debt ceiling would be perceived as a win for the Democrats. So
right.
Yeah.
This and see, look, I got to give Trump credit here. Trump is completely being smart and right about this. He says Trump suggested that the debt ceiling is a meaningless concept and that no one knows for sure what would happen if we were to someday be breached. It doesn't mean anything except psychologically, he said.
Yeah, he's right. He's correct.
Completely correct. Yeah,
which a lot of people are probably reeing at because they're like, what? That's a credit card. We owe China that money. What are you talking about?
Right. Well,
raising the limit on the credit card. Are you crazy?
The reason the debt ceiling is stupid and it should be eliminated, and we talk about this every time and it doesn't matter, but is that so Congress, they sit down and they write the budget, and the budget says, okay, like by law, whatever Congress writes in the budget, the government has to spend that money according to Congress, right?
Right.
So Congress writes how much money the government's supposed to spend, but then, Congress, obviously, they'll write that the government has to spend more money than that it takes in through tax revenue. So the government has to then, in response, create money, print money, borrow money, do all that nonsense. But then the debt ceiling says, well, wait a minute, the government can't, issue, these bonds and all these other things above a certain amount of money unless they get Congress's approval. And you say, well, wait a minute. Congress is the people that Congress basically is forcing the government to spend money, and then turns around and says, oh, but you can't actually, print money to spend the money that we're making you spend, which is retarded, which is completely retarded. It's like, well, if Congress doesn't want the government to borrow money or print money, then they need to establish that when they write the budget. Not say, oh, we're going to write the budget and then pretend like it's not our fault when, the government has to borrow.
Just say print. It's easier.
Or print, I guess. Yeah. Or it's our fault.
Not really borrowing.
Yeah, it's true. But it's so like, that's why it's so stupid. Congress says, oh, you have to spend, $6 trillion. And then the government's like, well, we only have 4 trillion. So we got to print 2 trillion. And then Congress goes, oh, how? What? You have to print 2 trillion? Oh, how dare you? It's like, well, you wrote the budget. What do you mean? Like, if you didn't want us to print that money, you should have figured that out with the budget. So the whole thing is just completely retarded and nonsensical. And no one has ever really explained why it exists really in the first place at all. So the whole thing is
Yeah.
and it should be eliminated completely.
It'd be great if Trump did that.
Yes. So
all will be forgiven for January 6th. So
So it would, okay, let's not get too far, but it would be definitely, I would be big ups on Donald Trump if he get rid of this stupid debt ceiling thing.
Completely. Now, would you vote for him in 2028 if he gets rid of the debt ceiling?
Well, they're going to change the Constitution to allow that, unless, so I'm skeptical that's going to come to fruition, but.
Right. Well, if there was a coup, you would vote for him, though?
No.
Okay.
So this is interesting. So here's an article from Breitbart here about whether the Democrats will go along with this debt ceiling thing. Now it is Breitbart, so you have to kind of take that as it is. It says a senator who asked for anonymity to discuss the very fluid situation on Capitol Hill just days before government funding deadline on Friday said Schumer only has one real piece of leverage over Trump next year, and that leverage is the debt ceiling deadline. Quote, it makes sense that Trump wants to get the debt limit off of his plate before he gets there because, of course, it's not his problem, the senator said in a brief phone interview. But obviously, Schumer doesn't want to give up this problem because the leverage he retains is pretty much the only leverage he retains. Asked if Schumer is salivating over using the debt ceiling in late spring or early summer to exact concessions over Trump, the senator told Breitbart News, quote, of course he is, but because what else does he have?
Oh, my God. The Democrats have been crying about getting rid of the debt ceiling forever. and they're going to hang on to it just so that they can go against Trump. What a bunch of fucking hypocrites.
Well, here's the thing, and I mean that's the issue here, because so far we just have this reporting from this anonymous senator. None of this has been made public yet. It would be really, really hard for me to imagine that Chuck Schumer or the Democrats could publicly come out in favor of defending the debt ceiling.
They couldn't publicly.
It would look so bad. I mean, they could. They guess they could, but it would look so horrible because yes, the Democrats have been the one time on getting rid of it for 20 years. So if they're going to come out now and support it, once Trump wants to get rid of it, they'll just look like dog shit.
Which they may do.
We'll see.
Never put it past these politicians.
Now, here's the interesting thing, because I looked up Elon's tweets because I'm curious about his feeling on the debt ceiling. I would imagine that Elon Musk would be 100% against getting the debt ceiling. And so...
Oh, great. Awesome. What did he say?
Well, okay. But he actually did comment on it. So this is kind of fascinating. So his comment was in response to Charlie Kirk. So let me read what Charlie Kirk says first. Charlie Kirk says, the president has made his demands clear. He will not have his presidency robbed by a lame duck Congress failing to do its job. Schumer wants to hold the debt ceiling over Trump in 2025 to derail our agenda. So that's from the Breitbart piece. No BS continuing resolution with biolab funding or January 6 obstructionism or pay raises for Congress. Give the president a clean slate for January 20th. My advice to all congressional Republicans, don't get in Trump's way. It won't end well. It's very fascinating because it's like the signal that Trump is sending is very vague. It's like, don't put bad things in the bill, but get it done. It's like, okay, well, I mean, you're going to have to make some kind of agreement with the Democrats. So I don't know about the biolab funding, but I'm assuming if there's some J6 thing, that's going to be difficult to do. So.
Yeah. We'll see where it goes, but it sounds like Elon's on Trump's side. So
Elon's response to that tweet was, if we get spending under control pronto, that debt ceiling will be much further out. Maybe we never hit it.
Well, that doesn't sound good.
Now, so this is an interesting response because it's a kind of a total bullshit response, because obviously they're not going to get spending under control. And even, again, spending and the debt ceiling shouldn't have anything to do with each other. Debt ceiling is just stupid. So, I mean, the debt ceiling will be hit. It's ridiculous for him to say maybe we never hit it. And he's not really supporting getting rid of it. He's just saying, hey, look, maybe we won't have to get rid of it, right? Maybe we don't have to get rid of it because we'll fix spending.
Oh man, it's pointless to even talk about because everyone just has this weird perspective. Like the economy grows and grows. It's like constantly adding people. I mean, Elon Musk is complaining that birth rates are down. He wants to add people. Like Elon Musk wants to double the population, triple the population, quadruple the population, right? The debt is literally the money supply. And if you're going to increase the population, you're going to increase the products and services that the population needs, wants, buys. You have to increase the money supply, right? So sooner or later, you're going to hit the fucking debt ceiling, right? Because you're going to need that money in the economy.
Right.
It's so stupid. It's so stupid.
Well, that's a whole nother reason why it's bad. I just think, I mean, you're trying to convince people of like much higher level argument than I am. I'm just saying, if you want to change the debt, just do it with the budget. Doing the debt ceiling is complete nonsense.
Well, no, I understand what you're saying. That it's weird they have this 2-tier process. It's like they have, first of all, they have to approve the government spending, and then they have this other process to approve the government printing.
To pay for the spending they already approved it for. Yeah.
Right. And it should just be one process, right?
Which reeks of hypocrisy to me. It's just disgusting. I think that's why it really bothers me. It reeks of hypocrisy and irresponsibility to say, I'm going to force the government to spend X amount of dollars, and then when they have to do the action that I know they have to do to spend it, I'm going to stand in their way so I can like grandstand about it. And it's like, well, that's and threaten to destroy the entire U.S. economy, the entire worth of the dollar and everything for my political grandstanding, which I just think is the most morally reprehensible, despicable, disgusting thing that a person could do.
Of course.
Because if it's like, oh, Congress is like, oh, we're going to pass this massive budget. We're going to force the government to print a bunch of money. Then the government's going to say, well, we need your authorization to print the money that you're making us spend. And they're going to say, oh, well, we're not going to authorize that because now we're going to be fiscally conservative. And that threatens to destroy the value of the US dollar. And I just think it's so fucking, it disgusts me on a level that is very high.
Yeah. And it's the time to have the fight is before you do the legislation. It's
Yes.
it's like it gives them another opportunity to come in and say, oh, we lost the fight on the spending. And
Right.
now we're these sore fucking losers. And we're
Right.
going to have another fight over whether or not we can print the money.
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah.
You have to decide, people always use the restaurant analogy. Okay. When you order the food and you see the price on the menu, that's when you decide how much you're going to pay. You don't order everything and then afterwards say, oh, let me try to run out on the bill.
Yeah. And that's exactly what's going on. That's
So.
that's a great analogy. Yeah.
So good on Trump for saying, let's get rid of this shit.
Right. Trump is like, I want to spend like a drunken sailor. He does. This is a fight that I perceive that is going to be going on between Elon Musk and Trump, because Trump wants to be a transformational president, and he knows in order to do that, he's got to fucking spend. He's like, I got a wall to build. I got tax cuts to dole out. I got health care to fix. He's like, I got a fucking long list of things, and it ain't going to be cheap. Being a transformational president ain't cheap. FDR did Social Security. I got to do something big.
Mm-hmm.
And Elon Musk is going to be like, no, don't do anything. And look, I understand and respect the fact that Elon Musk is a business person. Ramaswamy is a business person. Like, they come at this from a completely different perspective. They come at it from a business perspective. But the difference really is like a player in the game and the fucking referee like controls the game. So it's just all of the thinking that they have that's useful in business doesn't necessarily apply in running a money supply.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Dealing with the entire economy, unemployment over the entire economy, right? All these guys, they manage thousands of employees, right? Obviously, Elon Musk has, I don't know how many factories he has, 10, 20, right? He has all of these employees for all of those factories. That's nothing compared to the entire employment of the United States of America, right?
Right.
Yeah. That's why it's weird, because Ramaswamy's like, we just got to do a page one budget. Like, can you imagine doing a budget for every single corporation on Wall Street?
America.
Yeah, it's fucking insane. Oh, we'll just crank this out. Look, the companies themselves have to hire hundreds, if not thousands of employees just to do a budget for the one company.
Right.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Anyway. I'm sure everyone disagrees on that. Look, everyone comes at it from a business perspective, which is a perspective that you should. Like, you should think in terms of, I don't want to spend beyond my means, right?
Right.
But once you start investing, you start thinking, oh, how can I make the things that I buy create more?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And look, if you're in a situation where you can spend money that's going to make money, you should spend like a drunken sailor, right? Like, why, if you can spend $10 and make $25, you're crazy not spending more.
Right. Yeah, I mean, that's a strategy usually, most wealthy people use, is they can get money at a lower interest rate than whatever they're going to get back from their investment. So it's kind of the strategy for usually for these high level investment stuff.
I mean, it's super interesting that Elon Musk is also a advocate for UBI, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, he's like, we need to stop government spending, and then we also need to do UBI.
Well, he knows robots are going to take all everyone's jobs. So.
Look, I'm actually stoked, because I do obviously think there's a lot of government waste, a lot of corruption. I think there are a lot of people who they've got some in the government, and they're selling the government some product that is way overpriced or people don't need, they're like, look, this is for the Vietnam veterans or the Iraqi veterans, this ointment that they fucking need for their athlete's foot or something, right?
Right.
But you know, $300 a fucking tube. So I'm sure there's plenty of that goes on. And I would love Vivek and Elon to get rid of that stuff, right? And to actually be spending money on things that we need and are useful.
Right.
So hopefully that happens.
J-Mac, thanks so much. J-Mac, Circuit Far for the 50 gifted.
Yes. Welcome new members. Look at this. Merry Christmas to us. So,
and J-Mac for $20 says, when I was in the Air Force, I went through 2 separate government shutdowns. It didn't impact anyone I knew in the least. Most military members have banks that are understanding of these special circumstances.
Really? Okay.
That's good. And I believe, I'm trying to remember, in the first government shutdown, they did make special, I don't know how they did it. They made some kind of special funding available for most military stuff anyway. So I think most of the military kind of is able to skirt around it somehow.
Right.
Okay. Alex Wright for $5 says Vivek and Musk killed the continuing resolution, which would have kept the 2018 Farm Bill from lapsing and authorized billions in disaster relief and farm stimulus. President Musk. Yes, that is the criticism against going after the bill is a lot of the disaster relief stuff. So.
Look, and lots of people on the left are going to be pushing that narrative nonstop because they know, they know it looks bad. It totally looks bad. Elon Musk, they fucking hate Elon Musk more than they hate Trump now.
Right. Well, the way all this spending, whenever these like budget bills come, it's like, okay, you point to the good things in the bill and you ignore the bad things, or you ignore the bad things or you point to the things that your team wants, right? Or you point to only the bad things, ignore the good things if you're on the side that wants to get rid of the bill. So
right.
I haven't gone through it because I don't really care. They're going to hammer out something, so it doesn't really matter to me, but we'll find out when they get their shit together.
From a left-wing perspective where people hate rich people, right? They fucking can't stand it. They see it as completely unfair. Trump is bad, right? Because he's a billionaire. Although they are a little conflicted because sometimes they're like, well, is he really a billionaire? It's like, well, do you want to hate him or not? But Musk, I guess, currently is the richest man in the world, which they love saying. Oh, God, they love saying that. Oh, my God, it's the richest man in the world doing this stuff. Yeah, so they know. He's like a good target for a lot of hatred.
Tom Wayne for $5 says, Cenk looks at Dave Rubin and Jimmy Dore and says, what have I done?
A little bit.
Coding Jesus, thanks so much for the 16 months. Says, I love how the live streams are more frequent and directly related to politics. You're done a better job getting through the content. Keep it up. Well, thank you.
Yeah, thanks. Look, Sitch and I both love talking about this stuff. So, yeah.
Decking Des Walls with Holly Stuck officially for $2 says, you missed the opportunity for Cenk Grills Rubin. Oh, look. Adam, you missed the pun. The easy pun was right there.
Well, we can always fix it. So,
okay. Wind Traveler for 18 months says, bring back Blunty Fly. Was he gone? It's right there, isn't he?
Yeah, look, where's his stars? Oh my God. He got some of the good stuff this week.
There you go. Decking Des Walls for another $5 says, peers should just cut to the chase and do pundit boxing MMA matches. Would be more honest and would be more intellectually credible. Listen, who doesn't want to see Dave Rubin and Cenk punch each other, right? It'd be fun.
That would be interesting.
Anton Salo Glogvino Corn for 1 month. Wow. Thank you. So did you hear what happened to Nick Fuentes? Some guy broke into his house and tried to kill him and got himself killed.
No way. Really? Wow.
I did see this. Yes, it's pretty crazy. What I saw on X, it said that he did not break into his house, that there was a person who supposedly, and this is from the police report, the police said that there's a person that showed up to Nick Fuentes' house with a gun trying to kill him, and the police showed up and they killed the guy and that this guy was wanted for committing a triple homicide yesterday.
Well, on who? Like
I
his
don't know. It
family?
doesn't say. It just says that they committed a triple homicide yesterday, and they showed up at Nick Fuentes' house, presumably to kill him, and the police killed him when they showed up and they tried to arrest him, and I
That's
assume he
fuck.
fired back or something.
That is some scary shit.
That's pretty insane. That is pretty insane. So
Yeah.
I wouldn't be
Yeah.
surprised if a lot of this is, the Luigi situation kind of puts this idea in people's minds. So
Yeah. Look, the media has completely fallen down on their job reporting, especially in this situation. I mean,
Right.
it's surprising there's not like 20 copycats by now.
right, right. Now, I mean, Nick's probably gonna probably move because obviously there was that situation where some woman showed up his house. I think it was like a month ago, and he opened the door and pepper sprayed her, and he's actually got he was arrested for that, for committing assault. So obviously him being doxxed is causing a lot of problems in his life. So he's
That
probably gonna
sucks.
move. Yeah.
Look, I know Ethan Klein from H3H3 spent a lot of effort to move. I guess he was having problems with doxing and
Mhm.
getting an address that no one can find, and then was immediately doxed. Can
Yeah,
you
it
imagine?
doesn't matter. Yeah, it doesn't. Yeah.
Can you fucking imagine? Like you
Right.
spend millions of dollars
Right.
to move to some place and immediately. It's so
Yeah.
something has to change. Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah.
Right. Though it is Nick Fuentes, so I think it's kind of funny. Obviously, I don't support it, but I do think it's kind of funny.
Well, look, I just in principle, I got
So-
no love for Nick Fuentes,
Right,
but
right.
like, it's scary for everyone.
It
though.
is scary for everyone. That is
Yeah.
true. Yeah. I
I
don't
mean,
support any of these actions or behaviors.
There are people that I think people wrongly compare to Nick Fuentes, that people
Right.
see as Nick Fuentes, just as bad as Nick Fuentes, and it's fucking bullshit.
Well, that was the problem with, I remember this from years ago, the whole punch a Nazi meme.
Yeah.
There was some guy who was like a white nationalist or something, I forget. And he was
Richard
wearing,
Spencer, yeah.
was it Richard Spencer? I thought
Yeah,
it was some
Richard
other guy.
Spencer got
okay,
punched
it's
in
just
the
Richard
head.
Spencer, right? It was
Yeah.
Richard Spencer, and he was giving some interview, and someone runs up and punches him. And big part of the conversation I remember at the time, which I even made a video about, was not just that obviously you shouldn't be punching people even if they're fucking racist, just for just espousing their racist views. You shouldn't use violence against them. But another danger is, you have all these people who are saying everyone's a Nazi, saying everyone's a white nationalist, saying everyone's a racist. And if you say it's okay to commit violence against people you label racist, even if they actually are racist, well, it's not going to be long before it trickles down to all people that aren't racist.
Yeah, the problem is always discerning who the Nazis are.
Right.
Where people are fucking insane when it comes to shit like that. There's so many false positives, so
Yes.
that's why you need to have the prohibition.
Yep. Fate of Morality for $5 says Cenk might be willing to work with the right, but you can never take the buffalo out of the buffalo.
God,
that is true.
Piers Morgan just has to love Cenk. Part of me wonders if Cenk is like, Piers doesn't really want some reconciliation. He wants me to be me, right? Cenk, I've heard Cenk before say, drama is what drives the clicks. So I think Cenk knows what he's doing with the drama. So, I mean, we've had him on and tried to strike some chord of reconciliation as well, and he's just like, no.
Yeah. Can't. No, I mean, listen, you're correct. You can't take the buffalo. Luke Chain Sasquatch for Dura says, I find Cenk boring. It's always the same shit. Well, there you go.
Well, now it's transforming though. I think he's trying to walk the line where he's not just calling every single Republican racist. So
right. Amoeba Sheep for 50 Knock Knock says, now that Adam is enlightened on Skibbity Toilet, I require a live reaction to Skibbity Biden. Please, the cringe will sustain me through Christmas. Oh God, no. Why?
Can we watch Skibbity Toilets on the? Can we do reactions to Skibbity Toilet? I'm not even sure if we can.
Well, no. So, the Colbert Report, not Colbert Report, the Colbert, whatever this new show is this nightly show, the Colbert Show, they did this like super horrifying, cringe, skibidi toilet parody with Joe Biden's head, which is like, oh my God, it's like the worst thing anyone's ever seen in their life. So,
Really?
yeah.
Is it the real Joe Biden with a toilet seat around his neck?
No. I guess I'm going to subject you and everyone in the chat to this. Okay, everyone, like, put on your best cringe goggles. Okay, put on some earplugs so your brains don't start leaking out of your ears, and prepare yourself. Prepare your anuses for the leakage that you're about to witness.
Are you putting it in the watch together?
I'm gonna put in the watch together. Yeah.
Based. Look at this.
Get ready, Adam.
I'm ready. I don't see it.
I know.
It's not
I
in the
want you
watch
to be
together
ready.
yet.
You have to mentally prepare yourself. I don't think that you have ever faced this level of cringe before in your entire life. This is serious.
I'm a professional, Sitch. Okay.
Okay.
I deal with cringe every day. All right.
Okay.
The
We'll
darkest cringe of the internet.
No, it's not loading for me. Hold on.
What's happening? Oh my God.
It is so cringy. It broke the watch together.
Skibbity Biden.
Okay. Is it working for you now?
It is.
Okay.
Skibbity Biden.
Skibbity Biden. Skibbity Biden. Skibbity Biden. Joe. Skibbity Biden. Hitler's language. Trump.
My God, no.
Wait. Why'd you stop it? Why did you stop it? You have to experience the full cringe.
I can't do it.
Trump is using Hitler's language. Trump is using Hitler's language. Skibbity.
Oh my God. Oh my God. This is recent?
It was 6 months ago.
Oh, okay. Oh my God. Obviously, they're not taking the whole Trump is a fascist seriously. If they did.
Is that not the worst fucking thing you've ever seen in your
If
life?
they did.
How the fuck did like anyone on the Colbert team? How did anyone on fucking Colbert's team like make this and be like, this is it, boys?
They
God,
did this during the campaign?
Yes, it's horrifying.
Trump is using Hitler's language.
I know.
I mean, this completely undercuts. I mean, this is not a presidential look. Sitch.
No. Oh my God.
It makes me question whether he really wanted
Joe
Biden
to win.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Hmm.
Well, there you go. That's Skibbity Biden.
Oh, evil.
They also apparently they just released for Fortnite, you can get a little Skibbity toilet backpack.
Oh, I saw that. That was cool. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, I'm gonna start playing Fortnite now.
There you go. Okay. You're welcome, everybody. Mr. Middleman for 3 months says, I'm torn on this because I feel like it didn't cause confusion. It would be helpful if it didn't cause confusion, it'd be a helpful tool for non-trans people to empathize with trans kids' struggles. Yeah, that's exactly how I feel. So
Look, obviously, the ugly duckling story is about ducks. Like it has a powerful message. I don't know why you can't just tell the ugly duckling story, and anyone who's going through some sort of trans thing can empathize with it from that perspective.
right.
You don't need to fucking spell it out. You don't need to do the bathroom thing.
Sure. Satan Gray for 1 month. Thanks so much. Says, I'd say nature is healing, but the UHC shooter thing has only proven that the stereotypical modern woman may not have changed. I mean, I've seen a lot of guys that are in favor of it too. So I don't know. I don't think it's like a woman man thing, but Mr. Middleman for 5. I mean, I guess there's all the women that are like, oh my God, he's so hot. That's kind of the way it is whenever there's some reasonably attractive murderer for some reason. So,
They go into this in my favorite book, The Murderer Next Door.
right.
They do. He has a whole chapter on why
Yeah.
all of these serial killers have like thousands of women writing them letters trying to marry them and shit.
Yep. There was that famous the woman that killed her parent, her mom.
Mhm.
Remember the Munchausen? Her mom was like poisoning her or something.
Oh yeah.
And so she got this guy to kill her mom for her.
Mhm.
And it's funny, this woman is like not attractive. She's like pretty ugly. And she got this guy to kill her mom, under this like kind of romantic idea. And then he went to jail for like life, and she went to jail but got out. And I mean, she kind of like stopped, all that romance went away. This guy literally killed her mom for her and got jailed for life. She broke it off with him while they were in prison. Some guy was like writing to this woman in prison and was totally obsessed with her and was sending her all this stuff. They get together when they're out of prison. And then after a little bit, she's like, I don't really like this guy, and dumps him for some other schmo. And I'm like, this woman, like, she's ugly. And I'm like, why are these fucking weirdos like salivating over murder? Like,
the guy wasn't
people.
some Brad Pitt either. So,
yeah, but he had like money. Like, he seemed to be like
did?
well off. I thought he was like relatively well off.
Yeah, look, you don't know what you want when you're incarcerated. The reason why she got a lesser sentence, though, was because obviously her
She was being
mom was
abused,
trying
yeah.
to fucking kill her.
Right.
Okay.
Right.
Like, her mom was doing this weird thing, using her to get attention. So,
Yeah, but it seems
like,
weird. I
poison
mean,
her.
why should I don't think you should go
Look,
to jail for that. That should just be
the
self-defense.
guy. Look, no, the guy.
Yeah.
Should have got the authorities involved. Obviously, don't fucking murder the mom.
Well,
Call the
okay,
police.
obviously. I don't
Yeah.
know what the situation was. I don't know why didn't they do that in the first place?
That's why he got life in prison, because he didn't do the smart, intelligent thing and say, "Hey, instead of killing your mom, why don't we just go to the authorities and tell them what's going on?" Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, that is true. If they had tried that and it didn't work for some reason, then I'd be like,
Then obviously, look,
Yeah,
if he kills him after that, if the authorities got involved and didn't do anything, I bet you
Right.
he'd have 5 years too. He'd be like,
Right.
"Oh yeah, you did the right thing. Okay, 5 years,
right.
2 years, 0 years. You did.
0
You're a
years.
hero.
Yeah,
Look, I'm
right. Here's a
deputizing
medal.
you."
Right. There you go. Give you the Daniel Penny Award.
Is there? Oh my God! Talk about the left losing their minds. The Daniel Penny Award. If
Like a little
Trump does the
badge.
Daniel Penny Award, will you forgive him for January 6th?
Maybe they'll do like, okay, they'll have like a trophy that's got Daniel Penny on it,
Yes.
and he's got like a sheriff's hat on, and he's like got a big smile on his face.
Yeah, no, that'd be great. It's a new sheriff in this subway car.
You see, he's like standing on top of a person's body in the trophy.
He's got a knee on the neck.
I wasn't gonna say it. I wasn't gonna say it.
But you were thinking it. Though,
I was
obviously.
thinking it. I was thinking it. All right. I was gonna let it just percolate in people's minds.
Look, it's a comedy show, guys. Don't take any of
Comedy
this too
show.
seriously. Yeah.
Mr. Middleman for $5 says, I'm just wondering where all the gun control advocates calling for more restrictions and 3D printers to be banned after the CEO killing. That's a good point.
That is an
Haven't really
excellent point. Yeah.
Seen a lot of that conversation. So
All the guns, all of a sudden they're like, well, maybe guns killing people is not such a bad thing, right?
right.
The guns are just killing the wrong people. Well, the right's been saying that all along, right?
Right. RBGH fan for $5 says the Steel Man is a free speech issue. Getting dinged. See COVID election, Israel, Gaza. I agree he's a terrorist, but worried about the 1984 angle. What? How is it? I don't even understand the logic there. How is it a free speech issue? He killed somebody. It's not like it's like, oh, he was speaking out against healthcare and got dinged with terrorism. He murdered somebody. I don't understand the connection there. What do you mean?
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah.
Cameraman,
The act was designed to terrorize people, obviously,
Yes,
right?
yeah,
He wasn't
exactly.
killing him for the insurance money.
no.
Yeah. And the brazenness of it, murdering him in the middle of the street.
Right.
Yeah.
Cameraman 502 for $5 says this CR fiasco is a perfect encapsulation of why populists can't govern anyone they raise to leadership is then a suspected traitor. That is interesting. It's kind of like since the left is anti-hierarchical very often, or leftist, I should say, it's like, can anyone really lead because they'll just tear you down? And maybe that's also just an element of being, a populist to some extent, because you're kind of anti-elite leadership, anti-institutions. So
Elon is spinning this as a populist movement, though. He does all the.
Of course,
the people have won. The people have done this. It's you, the people.
Right, but the issue is like, okay, if Trump is having all these meetings with Mike Johnson, all this other stuff, this all should have been worked out before this public blow up. If he wants to keep Mike Johnson as a useful ally in Congress, supposedly throwing him under the bus now.
I read that Mike Johnson did a deal with the Democrats and did not include his Republican constituents in the deal. So he basically set up the deal with the Democrats, did a handshake deal on it, and expected all the Republicans to buy in on it before even seeing it. So
if that's true, the only reason that would be true would be because Donald Trump was pressuring him to get it done and just said, get it done.
Okay.
Because there's no way Mike Johnson's like, I'm going to go rogue on Trump. Like, this makes no sense.
Yeah, but if Trump is famously not a details person, like.
Right. Yeah, but that's why I could very well see a situation where Trump is just like, get it done, get it done, get it done. He gets it done. And then Elon Musk says, oh, look at all this bad stuff in the bill. And then Trump's like, oh, there's some bad stuff here. And Mike Johnson's like, what the fuck? Like, what the fuck? Bro, I did what you wanted.
Yeah, like I said, a lot of the stuff they were talking about accent, I was like, yeah, what the fuck is that doing in there?
Right.
I mean, a rare point of agreement with Ramaswamy, because he's just saying, look, just do the 20-page bill.
Well, that is true. That's always
yeah.
Well, yeah, but if you can get it done, if the Democrats they're not going to agree to that, then you gotta.
Yeah. Yep. Let's see. Darth Kiddith is 21-month member. Free Will Seeker says,
hey, Kiddith,
hi,
what's
Sitch. Up? Hi, Adam. Well, hello.
Hello.
Good to see you. Yeah,
hello,
she's got a great channel you guys should check out.
That darn kidda.
Yeah.
Jonathan Smith for $10 says current money systems give new money to banks, MMT to government, misaligning markets to favor big entities. New money should directly to people for markets to align with individuals' needs, not corporate/government. Okay.
Is that a StreamYards or where's
no?
That
it's
come
a
from?
super chat. Jonathan Smith is right above Kiddith.
I missed. Okay, I missed one.
Yeah.
Gotcha. Current money system gives new money to banks. True. MMT to government. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, I don't know what that means.
Misaligning markets in favor of big entities. I mean, look, if you get a mortgage on a house and new money is created, how is that some misaligning the market towards big entities? You're literally the one that, as a first-time home buyer or second, whatever, as a home buyer, you're a small entity. New money should directly maybe go to people for markets to align with individual needs, not corporate government. Well, if you're talking about, and look, I think of this quite often, like why is all the government spending? Like, I do think you need government spending to grow the money supply as the economy grows. But why is it always injected into like government contractors? Why are they the ones that receive first money? Why isn't it people, right?
Because they have to spend the money into existence. What do you mean?
Yeah, but they could spend the money. Well, I guess they do to some extent, writing Social Security checks, right? That's spending money.
That is giving it to people, yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, look, let's cut. If they can cut a bunch of wasteful spending in the military, spending that's not going to endanger people's lives, obviously I think our troops need the best equipment, the best possible protection. I think our military should be the most high tech. So I don't want them to skimp on any of that technology. But if they're wasting money on things, I would rather that money go to tax cuts. I'd rather people keep their money.
Right.
Sitch totally agrees.
I agree.
So we can move on.
David Kane for 20 months. Thanks so much. Says, screw politics. The new Superman trailer's out. What did you guys think? Well, I watched it. I don't know if did you see it?
I watched it too. Yeah.
Okay. You tell me your thoughts first.
Well, I mean, I didn't really get a clear idea of what the story is. It's just like a bunch of.
You have no idea what the story is. Yeah.
Yeah. It's like just a bunch of disconnected clips. I mean, some of the clips I thought, oh, that's pretty badass. Right. Mm-hmm. There's the one where the Superman is like saving the girl.
Yeah.
God, cool. I love that like speed motion to slow motion shot. Oh, it's just so dreamy. So it looks good. Nice shot. It did look good. The thing with the dog was kind of cute. I was like, oh, look at this. I know Superman did have a dog. What the fuck?
Yeah, it's Crypto. Yeah.
Yeah. So I thought, well, that's interesting. That hasn't been in a movie. So I think I'm what do we always say about Trump? I'm cautiously optimistic, right?
Okay.
James
Interesting.
Gunn did a good job on the first Guardians of the Galaxy, although
Second one was
we're
okay. I like the second one too.
yeah, the third
Third
was
one I thought kind of fell off, but
third one was complete crap, utter
Okay.
nonsense. So, but word on the street, and this is interesting. I don't know if this has been reported or whatnot. I heard this from a friend in the writers lab that I was a member of who knew someone on the inside for Guardians of the Galaxy, and they said that look, and this could be widely reported. Maybe you can look and check and see if it's reported, but I heard the first edit of Guardians of the Galaxy that James Gunn did was just a fucking total shit show, a complete horrible movie. And they brought someone in to re-edit it, and they turned it into the Guardians of the Galaxy that we all love. Look, Guardians of the Galaxy is an amazing movie. I think you and I agree on that, Sitch. So
yes.
that's interesting that person, I don't necessarily know who it is. You know, I don't know if that person was ever credited as the editor or whatever. So, but it always makes me think I don't necessarily know that James Gunn is like just a complete genius. Like he might be good at getting performances out of actors, but if he can't edit a movie together that's like a solid movie, then
That's a problem.
he's not necessarily this genius.
Well, I mean, if he's directing, you can have a good editor who can edit the movie for you if you have trust in them. Like,
Sure.
As long as you have the knowledge to go, okay, I got to trust someone else to edit it because I can't do it myself.
But there are certain artists like Quentin Tarantino that like
Can do
every
everything.
single
Yes.
shot
Right.
is like in his head and he's
Yes.
planned it. And then there are directors that go out and like, oh, I'm just going to shoot 20 different takes and try to get a good performance, and we'll figure it out in the editing room.
Right.
I think
right.
George Lucas is a little bit in that realm, right? He's like, oh, we'll just fix it in the computer if it's not perfect.
But that was obviously, disastrous.
So,
But yeah.
when I see James Gunn's name, just to bring it back to the Superman trailer, I immediately think of this story that my friend told me about the Guardians of the Galaxy, because I was like, oh my God, that movie's so fucking amazing. And he's like, yeah, but it really wasn't James Gunn.
Right. Okay, that's interesting. Yeah. So my thoughts on Superman trailer, there's a big controversy, obviously, is about the trailer starts with Superman getting knocked out of the sky into a crater and doing the looks like he's doing the famous Yamcha pose from Dragon Ball Z, which I don't like. That's so weird. I don't know if that was an intentional troll or not, because the big conversation is like people want to see Superman be heroic and strong. So it is kind of a decision to make the trailer feature Superman all beat up, right? But maybe James Gunn is just completely unaware of that sort of internet's feeling and just thought like, oh, everyone's used to seeing Superman big and strong. It'll be very eye-catching to see him like beat up. Because people say, well, how did this happen, right? So that was probably the thought process.
Well, this also, like, there's a long running debate over the fact that Superman is too powerful and it's hard to create stories with conflict with someone who's like a
too
god.
Strong. Of course.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
So, I mean, I don't know why you would shit on it for that reason, since that's been a debate as long as Superman has existed.
To be clear, I'm not shitting on it, but
the internet is.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, because you were correct, but this is the issue. The conversation, at least among the youngins, has switched from that. The conversation that you're talking about was a conversation that I grew up with. That conversation has since passed.
Oh, okay.
Now
that's like the boomer.
Yes, that's like the boomer version. Now the nerds, the fandom, because they're kind of getting tired of all this like edgy shit and heroes who aren't heroes.
I'm going to subvert expectations.
And the subversion of expectations. And I mean, because this was part of the problem with like the last Superman movies, was that Superman didn't really feel like Superman. So people kind of, I think, are getting tired of that. They want to see like classic Superman, just be heroic. And so people are questioning like, well, why do you have Superman, getting knocked in? Like, why is that the thing that's relevant in the trailer? And now I kind of joked on Twitter that I thought it was a troll. In reality, I think it's exactly what you're saying. James Gunn is he's thinking about the old model of the conversation, which is probably what most people are thinking, not what the internet's thinking. And so that's why they had that be the feature of the trailer, is for Superman to get knocked on his ass. So I don't mind that, even though I know it's going to bother a lot of people. I thought having Crypto, the super dog, in it was stupid.
Really?
Yes.
It was too cute for you, right?
Well, it's funny because I was sitting there watching the trailer with Sammy, and she's like, super excited about Crypto. She's like, "Oh, it's so cute." I was like, "Oh my god." She was very excited about Crypto. I was like, "Okay, whatever."
This is like the Baby Yoda phenomenon that we're all going to suffer through for like decades.
Well, I mean, first of all, Baby Yoda was much cuter than Crypto, so I
No,
don't agree.
obviously, but the whole
yeah.
idea that we need a Baby Yoda. That's
Yes,
like the
yes,
thinking, the
maybe.
producer thinking, right? Where's
Right,
the
right,
Baby
right.
Yoda in
Maybe,
this?
maybe. It was a little weird choice that the dog is CG. I mean, they can get like a dog. I don't know, but whatever. It's a CG dog. It looks good. It looks
Why
good.
couldn't they have like a bulldog or like a
Because it
pug?
has to look like the dog from the comic. It was like a white. This
I
is white
hate that
dog.
breed of dog. So
I don't even know what breed it's supposed to be, but
right,
um, anyway,
it should be a Chihuahua.
there you go. It'd be funnier. I like the casting. I like the way everyone look. Well, okay. I kind of don't like Superman's outfit, really. I don't really like the weird look of it. It's kind of like a combination of the modern Superman with like the really old fashioned Superman costume, which I never really liked. I do like the way the actor looks who's playing Superman. I think he looks good as both Superman and as Clark Kent. I like the way they made Lois Lane look. She looks like what you would expect Lois Lane to look like. Um, my only I want to like it. I want to be cautiously optimistic. My only fear, why I'm not cautiously optimistic about it, is I'm watching this trailer and there's just so much shit happening in this trailer. You got Superman, you got Lex Luthor, you got aliens, you got Green Lanterns fucking showing up, you have Hawkman fucking showing up. I'm like, there's some other like fucking DC guy showing up. Yeah, Mr. Terrific showing up. And I'm
Wow,
like,
you did
oh
like a frame by frame. I didn't.
no, I just
notice any of
watched
this
and
stuff.
I recognize
Oh,
all these
okay.
characters because I watched all the cartoons and I'm like, okay, I feel like the problem here is that they're gonna try like DC's so fucking desperate to have their Marvel Cinematic Universe.
They
And they
are.
keep fucking it up. They can never learn. They never fucking learn. Okay. Just do the movie that has the one hero. You establish each movie individually has the one hero, then you have the group movie. It's so fucking simple. I don't know why they can't get it through their stupid fucking heads. You know, you had
The
the
origin story of each character, yeah.
right. You had the Batman movie, which I thought was like whatever, but people liked it, and it was just a fucking Batman movie. Now you just have the Superman movie. You just have it be a fucking Superman movie. People like it. Then you could like move on from that. Okay. You had the Wonder Woman movie. People like the Wonder Woman movie. All right. You just got to do it like step by step. And I just feel like this is going to be another one of these situations where you got Superman and they got to like throw every fucking thing into it to try to set it up for this cinematic universe. And it's going to be a cluttered fucking mess because there's like 5 or 6 different plot elements in this movie.
Yeah, you're exactly right. They're like, look, we're going to do it completely differently. We're going to do Endgame first.
Yeah, they keep doing it. They keep fucking doing it.
And then we're gonna take each of the characters out of the Endgame movie, and then we're gonna make a movie about them.
Yes.
And you're like, no, what are you
Yes.
doing? Nobody knows who these fucking characters are. They get like 6 seconds of screen time.
Well, it's ironic because I feel like there's been enough good / decent Batman movies that you don't have to do a Batman solo movie. Everyone's like, we've had it. Okay, we've done enough. We've seen enough good Batman movies that are solid, right?
In many different ways. Yeah,
right.
exactly.
I don't think there's ever been a good Superman movie, in my opinion. Ever.
Oh, wow.
That's my controversial take. I don't think any Superman movie has ever been good. The originals are fucking terrible. I mean, they might have been good for their day, but they've aged really poorly, obviously.
Have they done a Wicked style Lex Luthor where Lex Luthor is the protagonist?
No. I mean, there's alternate storylines where there's Lex Luthor's from alternate universes who are good. But they haven't done a Wicked thing. So, but no, so I mean, I think they do need to have, if they want to restart the DC universe, having a good, solid, just solo Superman movie would be a good way to start it. You know, I don't think they'd have to redo the Batman or redo Wonder Woman because those movies did well enough. And, you know, you could just have Superman be kind of like the soul of the new DC universe. So just have it be a solo movie. Don't throw all this fucking shit in it. But I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. Because you're right. We don't really know what the story is. So I'm just pessimistic about it because of all the different elements. Makes me think it's going to be a cluttered mess.
This is also like James Gunn's wheelhouse, right? A bunch of friends, like a motley crew cast of characters. I mean, that's what Guardians of the Galaxy is, though. So he's probably just cluttering it up so he can latch on to something he's familiar with.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, I totally agree with everything that you're saying, that it's just, it's a miscalculation. They need to focus on one character, really build that character out into someone we love. Like, obviously, Iron Man was the one that got everything started with the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Right.
And they had, like, Robert Downey Jr. did an amazing job. It was like a character story about him. Like, they built it up over 3 movies, and then they started branching out. So, and look, I think Guardians of the Galaxy was just, I mean, that no one expected that to be like a huge thing.
No.
Everyone thought that this is just like a B movie that we're making while we're between Iron Man movies.
Right. And then it
Yeah.
took off. Yeah, that's true. And no, I like Henry Cavill, like, as an actor. I like him as a person. I think his portrayal of Superman is fine, but the writing for those movies that he was in was atrocious, and it's all Zack
And
Snyder's
it's
fault.
so unfortunate too,
Yeah,
because he
so-
was a great Superman. So, but this
Yeah.
guy looked, I agree with you. He looks great and
Yeah.
pulls it off. So, but I obviously, you don't know until you see the story. The movie is the story. So,
Right. Jonathan Smith for $5 says debt is not required to make money. Loans do create money on the book. It can just be created. The Fed artificially attaches debt to retain value. So that is true and also untrue at the same time, because it's true. Debt is not theoretically required to make money. However, it is legally required to make money. So if Congress would want to change that so that the Fed or that the government can make money without debt, they would have to change the law to do that. But right now, they don't have that capacity. So
yeah, look, and I don't know how you can say the Fed artificially attaches debt, because if you go to the bank and you say, I want $100,000 to buy a house, you are making a promise. You are saying, I promise I'm going to pay this much money over this many months, and I'm going to pay you back $100,000 plus interest, whatever it is, right? That promise is what becomes valuable. That's what they're selling. That's what the bank turns around and sells. The bank turns around and says, look, I have a promise from this guy, and he's good for it. We've looked him out. We've checked his credit. It's a good thing that's worth something. It's paper. And they sell that for whatever they can get for it. So, I mean, that's where the value comes from. You yourself are attaching the debt to it. You're the one that's saying, I am in debt. I am making this promise. So what's the artificial part of that? What's artificial about that?
well, the artificial is, again, because because you could have the government make money without creating any debt. Like, it's possible. It is physically possible for them to do that.
To the government could create how?
By just printing money without issuing the whatever it's called.
But that would be government spending. That's not lending. There's 2 different aspects to growing the money supply. There's spending, government spending, where the government basically creates money and buys a tank, and then that tank money's out in the economy. And there's also lending, where people make promises, those promises become valuable, and that expands the money supply. But when it's paid back, it obviously contracts the money supply. The thinking is, like, why would you want, and back when you were under the savings model that everyone thinks of because they learned it in school, what's it called?
No, I understand that, but my only point is, so right now we have a system. So not when someone takes out a loan from a bank, but when the government creates money, they have to legally create a corresponding treasury, amount, right? That they auction off to some bank or a country or whatever, right? For people to use this as an investment vehicle. And that's what creates the debt. The printing of the money doesn't create debt. It's that when they print money, they auction off this. Well, it's more complicated. It's actually insanely needlessly complicated to a level that I don't really want to talk about on stream, but through a very complicated process, this treasury is associated with printing the money, and that is what creates the debt. And you could, and Stephanie Kelton talks about this, you could theoretically change the law so that you don't have to create a treasury when you print money. Money is just printed, and there would be no debt. There are probably reasons you don't want to do that again, I don't really want to get into, but that's why I'm saying it's what the super chat is like, true, but also not true, because like theoretically they could do it, but legally they cannot do it because, Congress would have to change the law if they want that to come to fruition.
I want to make a point on, like, the the savings standard where we, obviously we used to be on the gold standard where, and people think of it like enough people go to the bank and they save their money, and then the bank is loaning out other savers' money to the people who want to take out a loan.
Mm-hmm.
And why that's not necessarily the best thing is because you incorporate this process where you have to have enough people who like work, make money, and save that money at the bank. And if you have say there's some huge boon and a lot of people want money so that they can start a business, they can develop new products and services, whatever it is. Like, why are you constraining loaning those people money to start those new businesses and whatnot by how many people have decided to save? So decoupling the savers from the credit, it's overwhelmingly a good thing. Like, if people we want people to invest in economic activity, we shouldn't slow it down by this corresponding people need to save in order for that to happen.
Right. Decking the Dev's Walls for $5 says we need government subsidies for the hardworking YouTuber stalker industry. Write your congressional representative. That is true.
Bullshit.
That's
we
true.
want those people put out of business. Probably good that the cop got rid of this one, right? Maybe people will think twice.
I don't think I
before
was
they
a stalker.
try
I
it.
think it was just a psychopathic murderer, but that's a different situation.
Right.
The Jack of Sun Trades for $10 says, all hail Daddy J-Mac. However, speaking as someone who has to work through the shutdown that absolutely will not be paid, many air traffic controllers will be affected. Landlords don't care. Ooh, that's unfortunate.
Yeah, see, there we go, right there. Look, my heart goes out to these people.
Right.
There are a lot of people who live paycheck to paycheck. It's very sad. I don't think anybody wants to live paycheck to paycheck, but it's the affordability crisis that we should be conscious of. If you are a person that doesn't have to live paycheck to paycheck, thank your lucky stars. Seriously. So
Right. Alex Wright for $5 says, if Trump is following Musk's lead, which he 100% did with the continuing resolution, it's describing reality, not hating on Musk. New bill will suspend the debt ceiling until 2027.
did you miss JMac did a $50 super chat? For some reason, I guess they don't pop up sometimes. JMac for $50. The problem is when you spend more money than what is required. Most people know you have to spend money to make money, but the government doesn't make money. Also, people hate feeling like they're getting ripped off, and that is very often the case. I totally agree, and this is where the government efficiency comes in. I mean, it's understood in business that you're going to have certain business ventures fail. Like you're not going to, every single restaurant you open is not going to be successful. So I obviously think that there's places in the government where there's corruption going on, and the point is not really to be an investment. It's to like milk the taxpayer for money that nobody deserves. So
Right.
hopefully we can deal with a lot of that stuff.
That's all true. But you're completely wrong, Jay.
Mhm.
Of course the government makes money. They're the only ones that do make the money. Ha!
Well, I mean, the argument that people will make is like the international highway system obviously facilitated a lot of economic activity.
I was joking.
Yeah.
They
No, I
literally
know.
make the money physically as opposed to.
No, I get it. Yeah.
Okay,
No, it's
okay. Gotcha. Thank
it's
you.
good. I love it.
thank
Oh
you.
my God.
Thank you.
They print the money.
They print the money. Get it. So funny. Hayden Dill for $2 says, Adam, and this is in response to the Skibbity Biden, punish Sitch by bringing out corny for this. Listen, I only brought out Skibbity Toilet because someone else asked for it. Okay. I am just a mere tool. I am just a mere butler conveying to you what others have brought before me. All right.
Right.
Do not blame me, the messenger.
Sitch loves corny anyway.
There you go.
Sometimes we're private. We're just talking to one another, and he's like, do the corn thing.
That's never happened ever.
Sitch is like,
That has
"Just do
never
the-
happened once.
Let's talk about this Trump bill, but can you do the corn thing?
It's never ever happened. Lakea000 for £5 says, help me feel sane. I quoted the number of homicides in my hometown Chicago on a leftist channel chat. and was totally piled on. Is that racist or something? I mean, it depends on what the context is. Obviously, just on its own, it's not racist. No, it shouldn't be.
Right.
So
Unless you're talking about black crime, then obviously.
yeah, so there's a
Totally
context where you
racist.
could make it racist. I'm assuming you didn't do such a thing. So good
I
for
always
you.
blame the left for this anyway.
true.
Obviously, if you tell black people that the entire world is racist against you're pretty much setting people up for a life of crime. So
Decking Dev's Walls, thanks so much for the $5. Says Chris Chan's girlfriend is pregnant. Stop assuming human dating dynamics will ever make sense. That is fair.
I thought Chris Chan was trans.
I don't know, but Decking Dev's Walls for $9 says probably misinformation. Dating is still weird though. Well, we'll see, I guess. RBGH fan for $5 says I see terrorism laws in the same vein as hate speech laws. It's too subjective. Is burning the flag terrorism? Well, first of all, number one, I mean, it's a person murdered someone, so for a very specific political purpose, I don't really see what is the subjectiveness of that issue. Number one. Number two, even with not murder cases, I mean, you've had, I don't think burning the American flag is terrorism, at least on its own. But, this came up with the whole cross burning thing where, the KKK would burn crosses on people's property intentionally in order to threaten them, to try to get them to leave. And that is considered a terrorist act. And I have zero problems with that. It is a terrorist act. It is trying to, make someone flee from their home, flee from their community, infringe upon their rights as an American citizen through an act of terror. And we've had those laws on the books for decades, and they don't seem to me to be wheeled out inappropriately most of the time. So do not agree.
Yeah, the flag burning, that's a tough one because obviously you think of something like 9/11 is going to terrorize people from going into buildings or crowded areas or stuff like that. There seems to be a giant causal connection there. I don't necessarily see the causal connection with burning the flag. That's going to make me afraid of crowds, or
well, it depends. Like if there was a group of people who just found random Jews and started burning Israeli flags on their lawn, you'd be like, "Oh, what's the message there, right?" So,
yeah, I guess then there's this whole targeting specific people type thing,
right?
Yeah. So,
anyways, is for $20. Thanks so much. Says Destiny has such brain that he thinks this backlash to the left proves the right always controlled culture. He does not understand the right only gained cultural power because of the public being on their side.
Yeah, he helped him gain power with his disdain for that Trump voter. So
right.
Yeah.
Cameraman 502 for $5 says the Atlantic has a great piece on the need for more military infrastructure. We actually need to increase military spending to increase production.
Yeah, that's the thing that is interesting to me because I don't know. I have faith that Elon Musk will respond to the facts on the ground. I'm not sure that Vivek Ramaswamy will. So,
right.
And if the truth is we need military spending, this is what I'm talking about. Ramaswamy being just like too hard edge for me. Because I can picture Ramaswamy saying, "Oh, well, we got to make do with what we have, If the troops don't have enough ammunition, then fuck it. That's the way the free market works."
Right. Sammy G for $2 says you didn't like the dog. Red flag.
Oh no. Oh no.
That's what
happens.
Every day, Sammy's like, when are we going to get a dog? When are we going to get a dog?
Is that really? Holy shit. Breaking news. Breaking news. Sammy G wants to get a simulated child with PSA 6. You guys heard it here first.
Oh, terrible.
They're going in on a simulated child.
Look at this.
What kind of dog? What kind of child? I mean, dog are you guys gonna get? Is there a pick? Like if it's a pug, I fully endorse. If it's a bulldog, I fully endorse, right?
Okay.
If it's some rat-looking dog, no, of course not.
Right.
Those dogs that like their hair is missing it.
Mm-hmm. No. Okay. Death by
Look,
Sloth for
I'm on Sammy G's side
Of
in
course
this.
you are.
I think a dog would be great. So
Okay.
I fully endorse this.
Death by Sloth for $2 says, watch All-Star Superman. It's about Superman dying. Yeah, I've seen it. It's good. I liked it. I liked there's a lot of fun interactions where like Clark Kent is interviewing Lex Luthor in prison, and Lex Luthor is telling him all this like shit, that obviously he doesn't know that he doesn't know Clark is Superman. So it's a very interesting interaction.
Wow, that's a cartoon one, right?
It's
The
a cartoon,
animated one?
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Look at this. M8566.
For $2
For
says
$2,
Sitch
yeah.
video when. That's a good question.
What's up with that?
I don't know. I mean, going back, Sammy's like saying like I should make a video for her for Christmas as a Christmas present. Okay. So
Rumor has it you were working on a video.
I was, and then
what was that all about?
That
What
just all fell
happened?
apart. Yeah. So
What was the video on? I remember thinking,
Don't
oh,
worry
this is
about
great.
it.
You don't want to remind people?
No. MA566 for 13 months. Thanks so much. Says all hail festive Blunty Fly. There you go.
Oh yeah, of course. He's feeling the reason for the season.
Lakea for another £2. Thank you. Says the context was the Nick Fuentes incident. What does homicides in Chicago have to do with the Nick Fuentes incident? Was he in Chicago? I don't know where he lives. Okay. Fudgico for 5 Canadian says, Adam, you can't decouple capital on hand from loans because of risk. What happens when too many of those loans default? Something like the 08 happens.
Well, that's a situation where they were making loans to people who didn't. I mean, if you're saying that the banks should have some skin in the game, that they shouldn't be able to just sell loans indiscriminately, like they shouldn't give out a loan under the pretext that they've done all the legwork to make sure the guy's a good candidate for a loan and then sell it to another bank and they're just selling them shit. I'm on your side. I completely think that's something that there should be some sort of regulation against. So, but the idea that we shouldn't be able to give loans to as many people who are good risks and are going to go out and develop the economy. I mean, I completely disagree if that's the argument that you're making. They should go out and start businesses and develop the economy.
Mm-hmm.
Sitch, what do you think?
I agree with whatever you just said.
Okay. He's like, what? Sitch is not as into the economics as I am.
No.
I live and breathe that stuff. It's so fascinating to me.
Decking Des Walls for $5 says there's a kernel of truth in the notion that the show is a husk of what it could be in the absence of the yellow angel of hilarity. He was amazing.
Who are you talking about?
Oh, God.
Sitch. Why are you so angry?
Oh, my God. I don't even respond. Hayden Dill for $2 says, I think Sammy G deserves a cat. Wow, look at that.
Look, that's just evil to say. Obviously, Sammy G is a dog person.
There you go.
And to try to foist a cat on a dog person.
Right.
That is terrorism.
There you go.
Yeah.
J-Mac, or sorry, for $20, thanks so much. Says you guys should get a Havanese. They're hypoallergenic, don't shed, are incredibly intelligent. They have a lot of energy though, so be ready to tug of war a lot. Also, they're Cuban.
Wow. That's a perfect suggestion right there.
They are pretty cute. Havaneses are a pretty cute breed of dog. So
let me see if I can bring up a picture of Sammy G and
when they have short hair.
Dog.
I don't like when they have long hair. I think they look like I don't like the mop look. You got to cut their hair.
Yeah, I'm more of a short hair type dog person. Obviously,
they look cute when they have short hair, but
oh my God, here we go. Oh, Sitch. If Sitch can say no to this puppy, then obviously Sitch has
no soul,
a black heart.
Right. Well, it's gonna be one of those situations, like the dog dad. So they're like, no, and then they get the dog and they're like playing with it. Right.
Here's one.
Oh.
Hopefully this is a Havanese. I just searched Havanese, though, but this is a cute dog that wants to come home with you and Sammy G.
Okay. Very cute. Look
Why
at that
would you
guy.
want this? Why wouldn't you want to bring this little feller into your life?
Yeah, that's very, yeah. Look at that.
Oh my. Oh wow.
Ace
You
for
brought this
$5.
on yourself. Look, you didn't have to bring this up.
I
Sis.
didn't.
No
I
one
didn't.
had to know this.
I know. No, I knew it was gonna cause controversy. Okay.
Well, that's good. Look, it's good for the show. Thank you.
Right. You're welcome. I knew what I was gonna do. Ace for $5 says Destiny has brain rot. I meant to say. He even claimed the right always had control over culture. Not that they recently gained control back. Oh, that's weird. I mean, I think that's a ridiculous position. And I could have swore I've literally heard him say the opposite of that in the past. So I don't know what changed, but
Yeah.
Decking Dev's Walls for $2 says get a Leon burger so Sammy can ride it. What is a Leon burger? Oh, some giant. These are like those giant dogs. I
That'd
mean,
be
Sam
fun.
is small enough that she could put a little saddle on it and ride it around.
Oh, wow. That would be a funny way to walk the dog. Just
There you
take it
go.
out
Just ride the
around the
dog, yeah.
neighborhood. Yeah.
Yeah, get a little like, bridle. And just be like, do, 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 do. Fudgicle for 2 Canadians says problem is no endless supply of low risk borrowers.
An endless supply of low risk borrowers. Yeah. So, I mean, it sounds like you do agree with me that banks shouldn't be loaning to high risk people. Oh, you're saying no endless supply of low risk borrowers. You're saying that you run out of low risk borrowers at some point. Well, that is literally the constraints of the economy. This is the whole idea. We want to give money to low risk borrowers. There are only a certain amount of them out there. So if they're willing to borrow money, obviously I think there are lots of low risk borrowers that don't want to borrow money because they are risk averse. So, but we should give them all money and just not give money to the high risk borrowers. Obviously, that was the problem in 08. Sitch, anything else, or is this good?
Saul for $2 says, do you think the Constitution should be amended to give the president a line item veto? It would probably lessen chaos because there's another chance to cut pork. Also, look up president impounding because Trump wants it. Impoundment because Trump wants it back. So the line item veto thing, that's one of those things where like, it sounds good, and it's just weird because I don't know enough about it because I know they had it. I think under Bill Clinton, they literally like passed it so that he had the power, and then they immediately got rid of it. So obviously, they did not like some aspect about how it actually worked. And I'm curious. I don't know enough about to know why they brought it in and then immediately got rid of it.
Yeah, doesn't that just turn the executive into the Congress?
That might be why, because it does. I think it might give the president too much power. So
yeah, you just basically you want the one thing. So there's all this wheeling and dealing that goes on to get the one thing, right? And then you just veto everything but the one thing.
right.
So all the wheeling and dealing was completely pointless.
Yeah, and maybe that's the issue. So Saul Fernando says, watch his Agenda 47 video on impoundment and spending. It has one of his most hilarious lines, killing, killing, killing. They love killing. Okay, I'll check it out. I don't know what impoundment is, so.
Sounds dangerous.
It's the act of a president of the United States not spending money that has been apportioned by Congress. Interesting. Anyways.
All right. This was a great show. I guess we're talking to everyone on Sunday, right?
Yep. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for incredibly generous donations. And we'll see you guys.
Generational super chats.
Yes, exactly. We'll see you all on Sunday.
All right. Later, everyone. Get the dog.
I already pressed end. You're too slow.
Try to sneak it in there last.